That was just
so welcome, guys.
Are we
Crippled
live?
System 98.
This is 99, isn't it?
No,
98.
98.
Yeah. Crippled System Saga 90. We should put Saga underneath. See what happens.
Oh, I accidentally have the label there for Who's the Boss.
Who's the
2014.
boss? 2014.
We're not Who's the Boss.
We could be boss.
We're the boss.
You're the boss.
Your mom's the boss.
Boss.
What are
She
you
is the
doing
boss.
right now?
I move my chair. My name's Nathan.
My name's Katie.
My name's Brian.
I'm Jeremy, Valiant418 on the forums.
On the forum.
And I'm Andy, and I'm done typing into the computer.
Yay! We need introductions.
Yay!
Hooray for us.
Announcements. Who's the Boss was very successful thanks to Andy, although the hamburgers were a little questionable.
How are they questionable?
They were yummy. There's no cheese.
I would honestly say out of like the 20 people who had hamburgers, about 19 of them said that they were amazing.
They were very good. I thought they were very good hamburgers. I actually was surprised.
I will say that I was hungry shortly after I had a hamburger.
Well, there was like
you could have had a
There were
brat.
74 brats.
Yeah.
She doesn't like brats,
I don't
unfortunately.
like brats.
She
These
doesn't
are-
like, well, Jerry, yeah.
I ate brat
Jeremy's just me.
hamburgers.
Yeah. Brats were very good too. I have a bunch in my fridge. So Nathan, if you want to take some home, you can have some.
Okay.
I know it was a poop joke. I'm aware.
Oh, is it a poop joke? Katie
Oh, being
may
hungry
have
shortly
drank
after
a
eating the
lot
burger.
today.
Oh,
so
I
warning-
thought she just meant that it was small, and then so
No.
it did not satisfy her.
No.
That
I'm used to
sadly.
small things.
Yeah, yeah.
Being satisfying.
Right. Okay.
Jeremy's,
What?
this is gonna be a rough podcast for
This
you.
is going to be a very
Like a
rough
Ghirardelli
podcast for
chocolate,
me.
They're small.
At least you've
That's true.
accepted it.
Yeah, I'm giving up now.
You're gonna get
Really?
another-
So what was the previous like 4 years? You hadn't given up at that point?
I had not as yet.
That was you trying?
Yep.
Is Travis gonna text you again saying, "Hold in there, buddy"?
Yeah, last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago when you got the Jeremy and his crippled system? That was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were out of town last week. Partway through, you guys just train wrecking and like backing the bus up over me like repeatedly. I get this text and I'm like, "What is this?" As Travis just saying, "Hang in there, buddy." I was like, I guess he's watching the live stream.
Yeah.
You weren't here
Who
last
cares
week?
about you? No,
they
I was
weren't.
at he was at his parents, and I just.
I
Yeah.
know
went to my
you weren't
parents.
here. I thought.
Yeah, it was for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
neither one of us was here.
No.
Well, I
He texted me a similar time and said like, "You guys are mean to Jeremy."
Which is a little bit true, but
We have when I don't remember when.
you don't
Here's
remember
the
that
thing:
happening.
is people ask all the time why we pick on Jeremy so much, and the real issue is one, because it's so easy, and two, because you take it so well. Like, if it was anybody else in the
He's
group,
just a
we would
happy
just
punching
leave
bag.
the group of friends. We'd be like, "You guys are no longer our friends."
Or you'd pull him aside and say, "Hey guys, you really hurt my feelings. With Jeremy, he seems to be happier, but it makes him happier."
I
Paying
got
attention
attention.
to him.
Yeah. Wow. So you're saying I'm in an abusive relationship with all four of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's fantastic.
I still say it's our civic duty because if
What's
we
up?
don't do it, he gets angry.
Yeah.
Do we have
Not
a
angry.
listener
but
and it's
angry.
Travis?
He gets overly egotistical.
No, I will say though it is kind of funny though that how well you take the abuse.
Well, I try.
But the other thing though too is people say is like, how can you guys abuse Jeremy so much? And they're like, have you seen him? Have you been around him?
Have you tried it? It's so much fun.
Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
Like, that's the thing.
The only thing we get more often than people saying, "Why are you so mean to Jeremy?" is people saying, "I used to wonder why you were so mean to Jeremy, and then I realized why."
And then I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember back when I was still like I would occasionally Twitch stream Destiny, which I haven't done for a while. I may do again with the new content. We'll see. JR like specifically joined a party with me just so he could badmouth me on the Twitch stream. But the way I had it set up, you could hear me, but not the people in my fire group. I didn't tell him. I just let him keep going the whole time. And then after we played for like an hour and a half, I was like, so I'm going to sign off on the Twitch stream now. By the way, since none of you could hear the rest of the people in my group, JR is going to be very upset when he hears this in a second. And then I closed the Twitch stream. And JR was so pissed.
Then it should have made sense when I told him to suck it today.
Yeah, JR texted me, and Katie just picks up my phone and writes, "Suck it, no," and then puts the phone back down. I was like, what just happened?
Brian's used to that response.
Yeah.
Brian knows that if profanity comes across on my phone, Katie must be holding my phone.
If it's the weekend, I don't know who. I figure one of you two are responding. I just messaged both of you now because I know I'm
Oh,
gonna
my
get.
phone's at my office.
Yeah, she forgot her phone
I
literally
hope.
at work.
I don't know for sure.
That's why I do the iPad thing. I do the iPad check because you always have your iPad near you, and if you don't have your iPad, there'll be like an alert, Amber Alert out there for your iPad.
Today, Fuma licked
What do
my
you mean?
forehead. It was very funny because I fell asleep on the couch, and then she started licking my forehead, and that's how I knew the dogs were no longer in the house.
She'd been asleep long enough that I'd like gotten up, taken the dogs outside, come back, played Destiny for a while, and then Fuma had decided to come over and figure out if she was dead. So Fuma was standing on top of her, licking her face. Was how she decided the dogs had been out of the house for, I don't know, an hour.
When did you start drinking today, Katie?
Seriously.
Not that long ago was the
Half
sad
hour ago.
Yeah, this bottle
Take
was
much.
full.
Oh, now.
No, it was not. Don't be a liar.
Dirty lies.
That shit's strong, though.
It
That
is
shit's
strong, it's true.
Strong
It's
and
delicious.
delicious. It is
Yeah.
dangerous. That's a bad combination for
All right,
alcohol.
everyone, shut up. Announcements.
We had a
I'm really
couple other
excited about my
announcements.
topics, and so you guys have to go continue with the announcements. There were some events coming up.
There's an event in
There's things.
Milwaukee coming up, and
Don't worry about
somewhere
it.
else.
What?
There is.
You don't know when?
Coming
Nathan
up.
can host
This-
events again. He's very excited about it.
Yay.
Yay. All right, now my topic. Okay.
No one wants to get in the way of your topic right now. It's too dangerous to get in the way of
No,
it.
I'm not getting in the middle
So
of it.
I feel like this is very topical because Brian told me it was. I have no idea because I don't read the forums. But I wanted to talk about barriers to entry to War Machine for women specifically.
I like that you put your note on your iPad so it would feel more natural to be looking at it.
To hold it.
Like you're not used to holding a sheet of paper, but having your iPad in your hand.
Very natural.
That's normal.
I work with Post-its a lot too.
Okay.
So this is how this is going to work. I have 3 main speaking points. I'm going to do one speaking point, and you guys can respond and let me know that I'm right. And then we'll continue on to the next one. Here's the other thing, is these are things that I have noticed. They don't necessarily mean that they're true, and I offer no solutions to these problems. I will say that Kim has done a very good job. She has started like the Women of War Machine Facebook group, and she has been a strong voice in the community, and she's amazing.
My alternate personality is, remember that, by the way. Brianna.
Brianna.
That terrifies me.
I feel like there is somebody in some video game named Brianna.
Brianna of Tarth.
Brianna Tarth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a
I
game
bet,
She's in the
Matt,
video
I bet
game,
Matt
yeah.
Less is
It
a
is a
member of that
game.
Facebook group. He's a member of every if you make a
He's a
Facebook
member of
group,
all the Facebook groups.
he joins every Facebook.
Well, how else is he going to get notified so he can like everything posted on the internet?
It is his job.
That's true. I would like to see his feed to see like what nonsense pops up.
I
on
did
it.
see an article about a guy who liked everything on Facebook for like a month
And he
just
said,
to see
like,
what would
the
happen.
most extreme things popped up.
Yeah.
Like, you could only do it for like 4 days.
Yeah, like he had to give up because it was like destroying the world. Like it was all these terrible, terrible things kept bombarding him.
Well, I imagine that's Matt his computer because he likes everything every day for the last year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna post like super ultra conservative things and like tag Matt in each and every one of them.
To see if he'll like it. It's like the experiment with the monkey that has like the barbed wire mom with the milk and then the soft mom without milk. Yes, they're both terrible choices.
Anywho, my first point
Wait,
is that
what?
You ever seen that one? It's an experiment talking about
I've seen the parody on The Simpsons, so I know what he's talking about.
but it was a real experiment to see like if affection or nutrients was more important to a developing child, essentially.
Affection
So
won
they
out.
had infant monkey, like week-old monkeys, and they took them away from their parents, and then they had a cuddly fake mom that was just soft and covered in fur and everything that the monkey could snuggle with, and then like a razor wire awful monster that had milk reservoirs, and the monkeys would just starve to death cuddling with the soft one.
Animal abuse.
Hooray for
Yay.
science!
So here's the thing: is generally I'm okay with animal testing for medicine.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty shitly. That's not curing cancer or
No.
curing AIDS or making people walk. That's just like let's torture monkeys
Let's
till they
just watch
die.
a baby starve to death. Yay!
And even after the first day, the baby. Maybe we'll get some food at this point. Okay, now it's almost at some point you got your point across.
But like ethics come into
Yeah.
play at some point. Hopefully. Anyway, my first one is there aren't any role models that are women in War Machine. So I've thought about this for a couple of weeks now, and this is my theory: is that
Can
there.
I interrupt because I want clarification on your statement? Do you mean in the fluff world of War Machine, or do you mean there aren't War Machine players
There
that are
aren't
known
A
as
role model, like a person to look up
a
to.
I know the
woman who-
concept of a role model. That didn't answer my question. Does she mean in
Thank
real
you.
life or in the
I was
story?
going to answer your question.
Thank you.
Um,
Jeremy opened his stupid mouth.
I
You
know
can
he did.
answer because you're smart.
Thank you. I mean somebody
I
who
hate
is
you
on the
all.
top tables at a War Machine weekend or a big event
So
that
in
is
real world, yeah.
female. So I thought about this for
Keith's pink shirt doesn't count.
Keith doesn't count, although I have suspicions. Sorry, Jackie. My first thought is that there aren't enough women playing. So in order to be at the top table of War Machine, it's just a fact that you need to put in lots and lots of time in order to do that. So if you think about all the people who play War Machine, there are thousands of people who play War Machine. How many people are at the top of their game? 30. So if for every 3,000 guys, there's 30 that are at the top table, that means it's only like a 10% chance.
1%.
1% chance. Thank you.
You didn't have Excel. We'll forgive you.
I did not. I times everything by 100 anyway. That's a fact. So if you only have a 1% chance of getting to the top table anyway, it's because you've put your time and your effort, and only 1% of the population can afford to do that. And so if we had more women who just played in general.
Right, like if there's only 20 women, you're not even reaching 1% of that being a person.
Right.
Yeah, you would need 100 women to have a reasonable chance of there being one.
Right.
So I think that's a problem, because if you enter the game of War Machine and you look around and you're a woman and you're like, okay, well, who else is here with me? So there are, I think, 20 people.
Oh,
That was I'm gonna say it's
Wow.
Katie's corner is over. It's been deemed irrelevant.
my phone's like, a dame's talking. I don't care.
So if, there are 20 women who, let's say, show up for War Machine weekend, of the women that you know, the roles that they're playing aren't necessarily even playing War Machine. So there's Kim. She's amazing. She runs events. She doesn't actually play in War Machine. There's Meg, the painter, who's amazing. She doesn't actually play in War Machine. So even if you get into the game and you look at the women role models, they are showing you ways to be an active member in the community that don't involve playing the game. And that's not bad, because these women are excelling, and that's amazing, and that's beautiful. But it does discourage you from going into the game as a competitive player, and does encourage you into going into the fluffier aspects of the game.
Not to be bio-truthy or about it or whatever, but how much of that might be just women's interests different than men's interests? We have a lot of anecdotes. People talk about, oh, my wife/girlfriend/fiance loves painting my models.
Sure.
But never actually plays the game or whatever. Like,
Right.
I'm in that situation. Raylene loves painting them. I would have to rip out her teeth to get her to even consider playing the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that would increase her odds.
I don't think it would either.
Threaten to... Maybe there's an analogy in there somewhere. You know what I mean? She'd rather... That's it. She would rather I rip out her teeth than play the game.
So, and that's a thing too, is like men and women do have different interests, and that's acceptable too. But at some point, like if you look at people who play video games, there are thousands of women who play video games and they play the actual game. They're not just designing the armor or designing the world. And so one of the things that I think the community struggles with is getting women to actually play the game. And I think that if more women played, it would beget more women. And I don't know how to fix that, because you need that first 100 to start playing to begin with in order for it to happen.
And the other thing is, because War Machine, and just this is somewhat related, like because War Machine is a split up meta, there aren't 1,000 people in one place. There are, we're a big meta, and we have 50 or 60 people that we see on any kind of regular basis.
Right.
And so, like, it's actually a much smaller group that you need more than one woman in to encourage other women to want to show up.
So your point kind of leaves me, unless you guys want to further discuss this particular aspect.
I keep holding in sexist comments, so if I just pass
Yeah,
out over
ditto.
here,
Like, I
mean,
wanted to be funny sexist, but...
and I'm
but-
trying not to. Because in one of our live streams yesterday, I was so sexist that Chad almost walked away. He was so offended by the things I was saying. So I'm just holding everything in.
Also,
because
I'm
it's a
holding
good
the fact.
point.
Let's wait till the end for the sexist comment.
Also, you basically just stated a fact. There aren't any internationally known top players that are female. That's a
Right.
fact.
There's no
It
Danica
can't
Patra.
really.
Patra.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Well, still no top players in
I know.
NASCAR.
That was.
But,
Thank you. High five.
I don't know what you guys just said. They were words.
she's a female NASCAR driver, and I use driver with quotation marks around it because I'm being sexist.
Yes.
And
Also,
accurate.
I'm biting my tongue because I think I have what I think is the big reason, but I'm guessing it'll be one of the other two because you said you had three, so I'm preventing myself from just saying, I think blah, in case it's topical.
He doesn't
in
want
a
to
minute.
Jeremy you.
Okay.
I'm being
thank
But
you.
Jeremy's looking at the list right
I've read the
directly,
list already.
so he can be.
I'm being
he
good.
can Jeremy Katie.
I'm holding in
You're
my
being. You're
comments.
extremely careful today. You're on guard right now. Is what you are.
So
And
anyway-
I don't blame you.
Topic number 2 is social structure. So one of the things that I noticed that started this whole thought process for me is the social structure. And not that this is any fault, but it plays into Nathan's point that women have different interests than men. So when I go to War Machine on Wednesdays and I want to talk to Troll Jeff knows everything about video games. Guess who doesn't give a damn about video games? I don't. You guys have all played it, so you guys all have a common interest with Jeff that you can immediately talk about. So when you're spending 2 hours with one person, playing a game, if you have a common interest, it's easy to connect with that person and it's easy to make friendships. I think that for women it is harder because my interests include like dogs and cross-stitching and whatever else they may include.
Baking?
Baking.
Sorry.
I actually
She
really-
actually likes baking.
I like baking.
The best part is she actually likes baking.
I have a
I
new
like
banana bread
baking.
recipe I found that's really good. We should share secrets.
We should see.
I like
There's a
I
little
have a-
cinnamon in it. I think that's what makes it pop.
I have a pumpkin roll recipe that's really good.
Awesome.
Anywho. But my point is, there aren't topics that come to light quite as easily. So, you know, Brian and I get along really, really well. We have one topic in common, really, that I'm not going to discuss. That's mine. The rest of it's mine.
We have one topic.
But I needed that.
Well, I don't know that if it would be embarrassing for you. Or
Oh,
not.
yeah, oh yes. I'm not sure what it is, but yes, it would be. I don't know.
So there's something that
Just agree.
Brian and I
Can't
have
just say
bonded over,
board
but
board games.
No,
We'll
no.
go
Oh,
with board
board
games.
games.
We'll say you and Brian
Board
bonded over
games.
all
board
right, let's say
games.
board
Sure.
games. Yes.
but
Now I'm on guard.
You should be.
But it's not something that you would talk to somebody with on the first meeting unless you were both of the same sex. And so I think that's a big barrier, is even though I got into this game because I really like the social aspects, but unfortunately there are a lot of people that I just can't find any common ground with, and part of it is because the type of person that this game draws to, whether we like to admit it or not, are people who are a little bit introverted. I'm super extroverted, which one turns people off, and I'm a girl, which can turn people off.
It's super intimidating for an extroverted girl to pop up in War Machine night. Like, I've seen Katie terrify some of the new people that come on Wednesday nights.
I terrify people in general. Like, I've tried talking to other girls who I can tell that I'm intimidating them just because I'm talking at them so much.
We're
And
all
so-
a little scared of her right now. We know her. I mean, let's be honest with
and
that.
so
We're
my
all a little
reaction
afraid.
when somebody seems like they are
I'm just
nervous,
gonna pour her more booze.
Thank
This
you.
is great.
when they seem like they're nervous around me, is to talk more, which for an introvert is the exact opposite reaction that I should be having. But it does prove my point that, like, if you don't have something in common with people, it's really hard to connect and stay part of a community. And so I think that women struggle with that more than men, just because there are more men, and so there are it's less likely that you're going to have something in common, at least on the surface, for just like polite talk to get to know somebody.
I definitely agree with that. I think even the social for guy, like when we're down there on a Wednesday night and there's 20 people down there, I can chat with all of them. You know, it's because we all obviously we all have the War Machine as a general topic. We all have either some kind of movie or maybe it's a TV show, or there's some cross reference, and these talk to them more. I might know like these 4 players, and then after a couple of discussions, I'll know actually these 4 people I have even the least amounts. Like I ignore those 4 because they're there, but whatever. But it's still at least there's a wider base where.
Well, and I think there are safe assumptions of other things that if you talk to 100 War Machine players, 99% of them will have certain topics that they are all fans of. Like, they're all going to have read a goddamn comic book or gone and seen the Avengers or whatever. Like, because
I haven't done either of those
well,
things.
and that's the thing, because that's exactly my point.
Do it with us.
Because we're playing a nerd game, so we're probably nerds, so
Right.
we probably do other nerd activities, to boil it down. And I think that the issue is that nerddom has been that variety of it has been very male-centric in general, and so guys read comic books and guys go and watch Spider-Man movies and stuff like that, and even girls with more nerdy interests don't necessarily still do that. They're kind of more closeted nerds, and I don't know how much of that is because like the
funny thing
Mean
is-
Girls aesthetic, where like girls have to be girls or
So
whatever.
one of my good friends at work, I've probably never read a comic book. I have read one because Andy loaned me one, and I didn't enjoy it. You loaned me a Spider-Man book. Comic book.
Last Hunt probably.
Yes, last
Yeah,
time.
Craven's
It had-
Last Hunt, yeah.
And
You
I
actually
kind of read it,
did
and it was
read it?
okay. And it was okay, but I'm not a comic guy. Like, I just didn't
Right.
do anything. And I told you that. I was like,
Yeah.
it was good enough, but I just not a comic guy. A good friend of mine at work, and you've been Aaron, a good friend of mine at work loves comics. Like, she loves comics so much, she was the first person that told me about the whole Kindle app where you can, like, before Brian knew about the Kindle app
The
that you can read
Netflix of
comics,
comics.
she
Yeah.
told me about it.
Yeah.
And then Brian mentioned it. I was like, oh, it's kind of funny that I already knew that, but I don't read comics, so it doesn't matter. But she's like super into comics. She has Avengers stuff, like old school Avengers stuff she bought off eBay in her office at work. She loves all that shit. So I've been like, oh, you should come out to War Machine because there's people with similar interests. She has zero interest in a tabletop war game.
Right.
Like, that's the problem is a lot of girls may have one niche interest that would fit in with the nerd stuff, but they don't have the others. So like some of these girls that come out, they like War Machine, but all of their other interests are girl related things. And so they don't have, it's not the same as a guy, it seems like. It seems
Yeah.
like a lot of times the girls have more of a niche nerd interest.
Yeah.
Even if it's out there, even if it's something that they're comfortable with.
So after a while, it gets into me having fun with people that I like, to me talking about interests that have no bearing whatsoever in my life, and I don't know anything about, and I end up feeling a little bit excluded, not because people are being exclusive, but because their interests are just different than mine.
Because they're talking about Star Trek and you're like, I don't know, a Spock from a hole in the ground.
And I don't care.
Right.
Like, that's the thing.
Right.
Spock's
And
not
you're
a
allowed
porn
not to care, but that's what I was saying. Was that there's that assumption. It's a relatively safe assumption. Like Jeremy said, he's exception to the rule with the not having comics. And as I pointed out, it's not 100% overlap.
But
you
common.
can safely assume
Yep.
that your average War Machine player has seen Star Wars movies, reads comic books, blah, 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 because that's the culture that they're in.
Yes.
And that's... the female overlap into those cultures isn't as cookie-cutter
There's
overlap.
also, to me, I think, a passion level where even if there's a topic that maybe is somewhat interesting, people will sometimes when you get two guys talking about something, they want to like not necessarily, well, they just can go like deeper and deeper and deeper topic where maybe you're interested in 5%, but they don't stop.
Right.
Because it's a passion. It's a passion.
It defines them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I've read Mouse. It was a good comic. And then Nathan's like, well, let's talk about like this aspect of it and what the
There's a
author
mouse
also
con going
wrote,
on next
and-
week.
Well, you know what
A mouse
I mean?
con would be the most depressing thing ever.
It would be.
Do you know what mouse is?
It's a dog. It's Harry Dresden's dog.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, we'll go
Let's
with that
move on.
as opposed to being a Schindler's List style documentary of the Holocaust.
Now, but here's the thing: if
So a
somebody,
what it
mouse
is.
convention would just be terrible.
Terrible.
It would
be.
just be a Holocaust convention.
On the other hand, there are girls that get very
I know people who would love that.
As a counterpoint, when we went to an event that we didn't invite Nathan to because we're bad friends, and we went to see The Last Unicorn,
oh yeah,
Katie was. So
I was so happy.
the
I made
au-
so many friends.
I'm sure it was great.
The author of The Last Unicorn was there, and so it drew out like the true crazies. Like
Yeah.
Katie had no idea that people defined their lives around The Last Unicorn, which is a true statement as it turns out.
And Red Bull tattoos and
Like-
everything.
like-
Well, like they came in wearing like unicorn things and like dressed as things that I had never even heard of because they're not stuff that our community gets into. And so
Yeah.
like I met some people that like I could share a passion over and get to know. And there was one girl who's super cool. We hung out with her a lot.
But she was the least extreme of all of them. That's why you
Yeah.
got along with her. But anyway, my point is that there are girls that get super, super into that stuff, but they tend to congregate around things that other girls are also
that are
involved in.
stereotypical girls.
Like Last Unicorn's very stereotypically female.
Yeah.
Like Nathan really loves it, which is fine, and there were other guys there, but like it's stereotypically female.
Well,
Whereas War
obviously, if there's a
Machine-
bunch of girls there, getting Nathan would be like,
Yeah.
hey, baby.
young girls, some of them too.
So,
Well,
but that actually brings me to my next point. Is like part of the social structure is like stereotypical roles. So
Is this the third official point?
no,
So-
this is not. This is
Oh, okay,
part. This
sorry.
is
This is a sub
This
point
is
of the
two
second one.
Sub-point
Okay.
of
To
social
be.
structure.
Okay.
So one of the things that I felt when I first started was the pressure, and not because any one of these fine gentlemen put this pressure on me, just
Wow,
like a general
fine gentleman.
thing. I know, I'm being so nice. That because you're surrounded by men and you hear them talk about women, like people who play War Machine or are going to gravitate towards War Machine are going to be naturally competitive. And so, like, one of the things that I felt obligated to do was to be a little bit more sexual, and I ended up showing up to a tournament inappropriately dressed one time, and
To
it
be
was
fair,
a
it
mistake.
would have been an appropriate outfit for certain activities. It was a dress.
It was a
And
dress.
You
Yeah,
remember the
She
event.
wasn't in like a dominatrix
She was-
outfit.
yeah, it
She was
wasn't-
just in a sexy
You
dress.
make it sound worse than it was.
I was in a summer dress, which was very low cut, and it was very cute, and it would
And
be.
you made that 12-year-old's day.
did.
Probably his whole week.
He lost that game.
he did.
He
lose
did.
that
But
game.
he was
He had his
happy.
first special dream about you.
Very creepy. But regardless, like there's just because you hear because of how women are portrayed, and because you're in a male-dominated place, like men aren't going to change how they speak about women because one woman is present. Maybe a little bit, but not a lot. And so you feel a little bit competitive to be the best at whatever it is that they're talking about. And one thing that is very important for women and men is social stature. And for women, what we're taught for social stature is one of the things that you have to be is sexually appealing. And so regardless of whether or not a specific man is saying it or feeling it, that's pressure that is felt within the community. And I've seen other women succumb to it on a regular basis at events. And it's very disheartening for somebody like me who went through it once and is like, okay, I learned my lesson, to see repeat offenders. But then, you know what I mean? And so it just further degrades women in the minds of men who are playing this game as somebody who isn't a peer, but somebody who is to be ogled. And that's a fact.
Offshooting from that, not the sexual part of it, but just the social status part of it, is I do wonder, and this may or not be a further point, I still don't know, I'm on uncharted waters, how often a woman comes to War Machine, starts playing, hyper-competitive game, because of Title Design rule set, blah, 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 feels the need to prove that a woman can be good and just burns out overcompensating for trying to prove, oh, well, women can be just as good, as opposed to just playing the game and enjoying the game and trying to improve at a natural, quote-unquote, natural pace like a guy has the leisure of doing.
And the thing is, a lot of people lose a lot early in their war machine. Like everyone, in my opinion.
And if you're losing to a guy as a girl,
Like,
there's
it's
an added
worse.
stigma because you're like,
It's
well, that's because
worse.
women can't play game, bro.
Because
Yeah.
that's the thing is, guys are going to deal with losing a lot of times, which is hard anyway. It's hard on anybody to lose a bunch of time. But a girl's going to deal with losing 100 games, and then after 30 of those 100 games, hearing somebody in the background go, well, of course she lost. She's a woman.
Yeah.
Like on
Yeah.
top of just losing those 100 games that we all had to lose, and like that's the barrier to entry for War Machine.
Well, and
for
then I would
anybody.
imagine that even though when she starts getting wins, oh, you
Yeah.
let her win. 'cause
Oh,
she's
you
a
let her win
girl.
because she's a
Yeah.
girl.
Well,
you,
and
you
that-
didn't, but you
Yeah.
know.
But
And
you say
that's-
that because you just lost to a girl, and now your ego is tied up in the fact that a guy lost to a girl,
And that's
like,
actually 2.C is the power structure of,
Sorry.
of the social dynamics.
How many letters does 2 have before we get to 3?
Just C.
Okay, we're on to C.
We're on
I
to C.
segued us into C.
Nice, high
Yes.
five. Is I think men play harder against, so they can play
Harder.
easier or
Like
harder.
an erect penis.
Yeah, against women because either they want to play easier because they're going to hurt her feelings, or they're going to play harder because they can't lose to a girl. One of the two things. Either way, she's not getting the same game that another man would get.
I'm always like, I always like make sure she. I'm doing this now. Do you know what that means? Okay, I cast a spell. Do you know what that means?
because that's not insulting.
Yeah, I just like
Jeez.
just talk slow to them. pretend they're a clean person.
Make sure you maintain all eye contact.
You know,
Yeah.
this
Don't look
status
at anywhere else, just at the eyes.
This status effect is called fire, like on an oven where you should be.
That's how it's usually explained to me, and they go, "Oh, what?" So anyway, moving on to 3. One of the ways that women are introduced, in the same way I was introduced to War Machine, I'm not saying it's bad, is but through a relationship. So their significant other plays War Machine.
Can I say one thing real quick? I
Yeah.
also, when it comes to playing against the girl, you can sometimes tell if the girl is playing because she's honestly interested in the game, or she's playing because her boyfriend just bugged her enough to play.
Yes.
And I always try. And I definitely try. I mean, because you can tell.
It's
It's just
the
that,
later kind in our small meta. We have
Yeah.
a couple of the other kind that have showed up a couple times.
Yeah. So it's always it's always, and that's where it gets more challenging.
Not
You play
currently,
against-
because we currently have 0 female players.
Well,
in our
they've
meta.
stopped coming,
Yeah.
but like
No, Casey came.
Yeah, I guess I
Casey was at the
Yeah,
tournament.
Casey.
I was
actually,
referring to Madison,
actually,
but
yeah,
yeah,
because
Casey,
Casey
you're right.
actually plays and enjoys the game, and actually, I mean, that's
It's
and
we'll
that's
have Jackie again next year.
yeah.
and the thing that's unusual about
It's
Casey.
public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
They announced
Okay.
it on their last
The
episode.
thing that's
Okay.
unusual about Casey that I really like is, yes, she found the game through her spouse, theoretically, but they also both started playing within, what, a month of each other?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they have a very similar skill set, whereas what you often see is, oh, I've been playing this game for years, here's this girl I started dating that I'm going to drag into the War Machine community.
That
Well,
could-
Which is-
here's
which
the
is
other
super hard.
that
problem.
was always the worst in your D&D club.
Yeah, that works. That works for every
Yeah.
game out there. Is when
Yeah.
you bring, quote unquote, your girlfriend to or boyfriend
Whatever,
to the
yeah.
D&D group.
Well, here's the thing that
Where
I
they-
hate about that is when the girl is better than the guy.
That happens.
Like I have,
That happened. Number one, it happened right here.
but I've witnessed it in person where the girl is doing just fine.
Oh, man, that was
The guy
annoying.
comes up and he's like, "Oh no, baby, you should be doing this," and then he just game for it, and it's embarrassing, and she feels like shit because she lost the game, and it's because of him. It's because he was an idiot. So not only does she lose confidence in herself because she just lost a game, but she loses confidence not because of her ability, but because of his ability.
I almost had to, like, Katie was having a teaching game with this girl.
Yeah, I remember this. We
And
talked
I
about
almost had to
this.
pull Katie off of that guy. Like, I thought she was going to kill him. Like, the guy walks over to this game they're in the middle of, proceeds to shit all over her game and lose it for her, and then says how he likes to play a tight game, which made me want to punch him in the face because he was a jackass.
Because he wasn't playing a tight game. He was playing a risky thing that wouldn't have worked in a million years.
Yeah. And so then she lost, and then he was like, well, you know, that happens. By the way, I'm playing in this tournament over here if you want to come watch. And, like, I thought Katie was just going to kill him. I thought Katie was going to kill him. Because it was literally like he walked over in between rounds, and this guy was not winning his rounds. Like, he was not doing well. But yeah. Like,
Obviously, he lost to Katie.
So, so I mean, that's another power dynamic that's in between. Like, not only do they have the power dynamic of guys that they don't know very well, but guys that they know intimately well who want them, quite frankly, to be worse players than they are. Because in a relationship, stereotypically, and this is not every relationship, mind you, the guy wants to be better at competitive, warlike things than the girl.
Guy wants to be
It's-
better than at everything.
Everything competitive.
Men are
This
trained
is-
to be better than everyone at anything,
this
and
is
if we
not only
aren't,
a-
we're failures.
This is not only a war game, this is an intelligence game. And if a woman is better than you, if your girlfriend is better than you at this game, she's smarter than you. But guess what? Most successful relationships, the woman is fucking smarter than you. Like, that's just a
As
fact.
proven
That's a
example.
researched fact.
Again,
Proven example.
And so it just sucks for me to see that because I am super extroverted. I don't really like people. Like,
You can stop there.
Yeah, that was a complete sentence.
like, I have from a young age made a boys against girls thing, and not that I am by any means like super manly girl because I love skirts and I like shaving my legs when I have to wear a skirt. Not normally because it's a pain in the ass.
Same with Jeremy.
whenever I wear a skirt, I shave my legs.
But by God, I think women are in general very, very, very smart and powerful, and they need to experience that. And to see them be downtrodden by somebody who's just a fucking asshat, who they're not even going to be with, who is ruining their lives, drives me nuts.
How do you really feel about it?
That's a fact.
Would you like another Tim Tam?
So 3B. 3B. There's a B.
So 3B, and this will actually play into Jackie and Keith as well.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear.
Not so.
Whoa!
So 3B is also something that happens in relationships. So if a relationship is successful and they get married and they have children, who stays at home with the kid?
Keith.
Well, Keith in this situation, like I said, I had suspicions.
He's very excited about this. So.
He is.
Had suspicions. I'm surprised that he's not the one not pregnant, or he's the one pregnant, not pregnant. But if a girl breaks up, or a guy breaks up with his girlfriend, who was introduced to the game through their significant other, who gets the War Machine community upon breakup?
I will say we had a guy and a girl, or a guy who played War Machine, and this is it's more your previous point, but basically he brought his girlfriend in, and he was bad at the game, and she brought her in after like 2 games. We realized that she could actually be like legitimately good, and after like the 3rd time, we're like, man, can she just come and he not come? Like, how do we keep her and not him?
Sounds familiar.
Here, Jeremy
does sound
still
familiar.
is.
It was repeated here too, but no, I see what you're saying. But exactly, the guy. I think
And then they both just stopped showing up, and
Yeah.
I wonder how much that was pressure by him because he was failing at it
He
and
felt-
was,
he felt
Well, he
bitter
felt
challenge.
It might not have been. I mean, they could have just moved to New
But that's
Hampshire
not-
for all I know.
But
But
that's not a breakup. What you're saying. I mean, it's just.
But when people
similar-ish.
break up, they tend to not be involved in each other's social lives or social circles. Like, they tend to split the social circle up.
Because later on it's just awkward when
Yeah.
you're showing
Right.
up at Wednesday night or,
And you're
you know,
both
playing.
there. And so, like,
Yeah.
what winds up happening, like you said, is the guy winds up getting that group of friends.
So that's one less woman in War Machine.
Katie?
Just know, Katie, you're in.
Yeah, we choose
Yeah,
you.
it's been discussed. Pretty much everybody up to and including my family has told me that if Katie and I ever split up for some reason, they're keeping her.
Family?
My own
Family is
parents.
gonna
Told,
top
my
to
parents told me
Well,
that.
to be fair, they have 4 boys. They need a girl.
5 boys.
4 other boys.
Yeah. Four other boys.
Well, or four guys and Jeremy.
and there's plenty of other single men in our War Machine community, so we'll
That's not a
we'll
selling
look out
point.
for you.
No, I've met our community. It's not a.
Yeah.
But the other thing is too, like, what happens when it's a successful relationship? Like, Casey started showing up, and now Jackie's an integral part of the community, and she's having a child. What happens if Casey has a child? Who's staying home with that child? Like, your friend John, like, his wife, I see a lot less often than I see John, just because stereotypically, who stays home with the kid?
Yeah, that's true.
I see Keith Hooks a lot.
Yeah.
I see Jen once a year.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
I'm not
I see your
saying
point.
that what they have worked out isn't working for them, because it might be, and that might be the right way to go. I'm just saying, stereotypically,
It cuts down on the women in the community.
it cuts down on the women in the community. Because I don't have time to focus on War Machine. I have to focus on my children, and that's what's most
To be
important in
fair,
life.
when they have a kid, usually you lose both for the year, and then at some point the guy's one who comes back first. Obviously, that's a trend.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it kind of broke that trend is our friend Sean. We haven't seen him in like years.
Well, our friend Sean, he had a schedule. He was one of the guys who's like, he got the job. It's like a clock went off. He's like, he turned a certain age, and he suddenly started with the online thing. And
Each age had a goal
Yeah,
he had.
he had
to
a
impact
goal.
that.
He
Like, I
came
need to-
from a very structured family. He was the American dream, sort of follow this route. Not even if he was happily
have
married.
2.7 children
he
at the
did- he
age
did
of
all-
34.
Yeah, he
and-
did all those things, and that's his life now. So I don't know. He's one. I don't know.
And I mean, and you do lose guys that way too, but it's less common.
It's just less likely than a woman. Like if you're going to compare the two. So anyway, obviously this is a topic that I'm very passionate about, even though I have pretty much. I know it's.
You didn't bring
surprising.
up what I think is the most driving reason, which is that.
Well, these were reasons that you might not think of.
Gotcha. Okay.
What was
so
your most driving
the
reason?
fact that the nerd community in general and the nerd industry in general treats women like absolute shit and doesn't want them.
Well, there's that too, but
I
don't
mean,
think- I
which
think,
is so fucking
Wait,
frustrating.
this is
I don't-
talking about something in journalism, you know.
No, not even that.
I feel like that's different than the War Machine community, though. As a whole,
Right.
the War Machine community has been very accepting. However, I will say that it's still I still get treated a lot of times like I am nothing more
That's what-
than something to look at.
Well, only by Crump though, because he doesn't even forget.
To be fair, Crump
Well,
can't be
Crump
bothered to
doesn't
remember her
who I
name.
am, which is insulting on a whole different level.
Crump didn't know who she was at all, and this was like a few months ago this year.
You know
And
him
then,
and I
and then he
talked
walked
before?
away, and then one of the news guys was like, "That's Jeremy's wife," which is even funnier because they didn't say that's Katie from Crippled System, arguably a more famous member of the podcast than me.
Arguably,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
like-
women aren't hated. I think it's a myth.
yeah, no, like they're.
There's the dregs of every group that hate women.
I'm not talking about hate like misogynistically. I'm talking about the industry itself. Like it doesn't act like it wants them. You know, like my favorite example currently was Guardians of the Galaxy was the first of the Marvel films to be written by a woman. The head writer, like the script is by a woman.
And it was an amazing movie.
And it has a strong female character. Gamora's a strong one of the
It's got
heroes.
a strong
Well,
And
and
the villain as
here's-
well. You
here's
know,
the
but
point
here's
that,
let me finish this one sentence though. She ain't on any of the merchandise. You go buy a Guardians of the Galaxy T-shirt, you'll see Rocket, Groot, Star-Lord, and Drax.
Yeah.
She's not on that fucking T-shirt. Because why would you want a woman on your T-shirt? You're a dude, obviously, because you went to a Marvel movie.
Most shirts I buy don't have the written. Not to defend that, but I mean most shirts don't have written by on the. Like I don't.
No, but
No,
my
he's
point
saying
is
the female character.
The female
Oh,
character.
sorry. I
Gamora,
missed her,
she's
yes.
she's not going to be on there. Like she
Right.
just isn't.
Well, who's the guy who did Firefly?
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon. He made a point. He made a speech. I think.
Why do you write strong women?
Why do you write
It's a
strong
great
women?
speech.
Because what do you mean? Why do I write strong women? Why do you write strong men? Why is it a strong woman just because she's talking about something other than who she's with?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was at like
But
a
that's a
con or
different-
something.
that's a
He
different
did this.
industry.
And it's
that's
such a
being
dumb
annoying,
question,
yeah.
but yeah.
And it's so funny because I was raised in an environment where fuck men. You are going to take care of yourself, and
Oh, I was
men are-
excited by the first part. I didn't realize.
I was like, man,
I like your society.
Where do you go?
Where'd you grow up at?
I guess
We're
I'm
all
moving.
moving to Bourbonnais.
like
Yeah, probably.
Bourbonnais. My mom was an anomaly in Bourbonnais. You can trust me on that one. And men are accessories, which isn't the right way to approach things, but it is like men aren't accessories, but neither are women. And
Right.
you know what? You take care of yourself first, and then you maybe find a man who makes you happy sometimes. Like, well, not sometimes, all the time, because you're fucking worth it. Like, but a lot of women that I met, their whole focal point is men.
Well, to be fair, like that's what they're raised. Like
Right, and that's the thing.
the university I went to literally had something like
It's called
Eight-
Mrs. Degree.
80% of the applicants were women, but they tried to keep it balanced 50-50 men and women. So it's categorically provably true that the men are dumber than the women because they had to accept further down the applicant pool for men to get an even split of men and women at my university. It was only a 2,000 person university.
how you got in?
And yes, probably. So every class of 500, every freshman 500 had 250 men, 250 women. And they had 80% of the applicants were women. So they had the cream of women, and then they had people like me for men. And the men were still pretty smart, but like the great thing, the hilarious thing was by junior year, most of those women were barely, like they weren't top of their classes, they weren't setting the grade curve, they were only interested in the relationship. And it was like, they're provably the smartest people in the room, and the top 4 people in any given class were all men.
Yeah.
And it was like, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? And it's because what they're told is important is getting a man.
Well, that's the only reason they exist.
That's why that's what they're for. That's why they went to school. That's why
Is-
their parents paid for them to go to a good university, was so they could get a good man.
And then have a baby and stay at home and raise that man's child. Because that's
Yeah.
been the social norm forever. And so
How-
it's hard. But yeah.
Well, how many people have asked you when we're having kids?
Oh God, so
Like
many.
everyone asks
Yeah.
us when we're having kids, including people who have kids, like
Yeah.
that are our age. They're like, "Oh, you must be having children."
we assumed
soon."
Malcolm was a test child.
Yeah, a lot of
Malcolm
people
is
did.
my child. You know who is actually my child? Fuma. I really liked her, but he doesn't like cats,
That's
so
true.
we settled on Malcolm.
I have a couple of coworker or a coworker who's married, and him and his wife, they have no interest in getting a kid, and they're always like, yeah, we get so much pressure by people. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you just if you'd had one, you'd understand or whatever. No, they just don't want kids.
Random
It's
people
fine.
at my
we
work.
don't
Yeah.
Random people at my work. I'll be at like a meeting will wrap up and like we'll be streaming out and I'll be standing next to someone who's like happens to not be 21, which is rare at my company. But I'll be standing next to someone who's 23 and has a kid because of course. And they'll be like, "When are you and your wife having kids?" It's like, first of all, I don't know. I barely know you. We just happen to be in a meeting, so fuck off. Second of all, maybe never. Maybe none of your
Well,
business.
and let's not like forget about the people who can't have kids. and
Yeah,
how
that's
it-
got to be rough.
offensive that question is.
Yeah. My cousin's adopting right now, so yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Right?
people are like, when are you guys gonna have a bit? When are you gonna be pregnant? Fuck yourself.
Yeah. How about I punch you in the face?
I have
Like,
had
yeah.
several friends who can't have children for various reasons, and
Yep.
it's like when people ask them that question, it's very hurtful.
I
Yeah.
hate any kind of social norm that's it's forced down people's throat. I
Well,
hate
that's
it.
true too. But
We have a good friend of the podcast that had troubles having kids too, and I'm sure they got harassed on a daily basis.
well, yeah,
And the
And that
people
was a
saying it
medical
weren't
issue.
thinking they were harassing. They
Yeah.
thought they were just being, hey, so you guys gonna have kids? You know,
Yeah.
not knowing that they'd been trying and failing, and I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
oh, thanks for just grinding that glass into my face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I
like
have-
you said with Malcolm, like sorry, not to cut you off. Like you said with Malcolm, like when we told people we were getting Malcolm, like the next question, I don't know if you got this, but the next question I got from everybody was, "Oh, so you guys are going to have a kid in about a year then?"
I will admit that was some of the
And you
first
were one
jokes
of the
we
people
made.
that asked.
Yep. I made that joke
I
immediately.
have a friend who can conceive and then can't carry, so she has miscarriages quite a bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, like, how devastating is that for her?
Mhm.
Anyway, do we have any
To
other-
brighten up the topic slightly, the captain had said that his daughters stand in front of the green Christmas tree lights and call themselves Gamora.
Well, good for
There you
them.
go.
Good
see,
for them.
What the
Well,
fuck
that's
is
what I
he
was
doing
going to say
watching
about
this?
because I was the very first thing I asked about
Hi,
your
Captain.
role model thing with question one, and this ties into what I was saying about the industry hating women is like the Hawkeye initiative is one of my favorite things, which is people take Hawkeye or they take those super sexualized pictures on like the covers of comic books and stuff, where like Wonder Woman's just shoving her thonged ass at the camera,
Yeah.
and they redraw it with Hawkeye
Yeah.
because they look really stupid when it's a dude doing it, and that's the point, is show it's a woman. And War Machine's better than this at most things, but Sorcia's still wearing goddamn high heels.
Yep.
You know,
All right, well, she might be short. I wear high heels all the time. I have
are you
tennis
off
shoes and
times in
slippers.
combat to your death against armed warriors?
Hey,
I work-
Have you
Sometimes
played with
style
Sorsha? She
matters.
doesn't really care that much.
Yeah.
Well,
just
but-
icy gaze and people turn to
But
ice.
just to
Here's
put
the
it in
other
perspective,
thing.
that there is a fan service model every year at Gen Con.
Yeah,
And
and
it-
people are saying they need to have a beefcake guy. They need
once.
to have some sexy, whatever. Doesn't matter who it
with the
is.
shirt off.
Well,
or
here's
something.
the other thing about women in high heels is
You like that, Andy?
No.
it's just a symbol of power. If you see a girl wearing high heels walking down the street and a girl wearing flats walking down the street, who do you assume has more authority? The woman wearing high heels. I don't know why that is, but I know it's the reason I wear high heels.
I was the one with the bigger breasts.
That's what my dominatrix says.
You owe me $1.
Anyway, wallet with me.
Like a dollar
Anywho,
card.
obviously
The
this
dollar
is a
jar
subject
thing.
I'm very
Yeah.
passionate about, and I
Well, it's a
think
valid thing.
Well,
I think that War
you're
Machine
very
is ahead.
passionate. It's your time of month, so you're all excited.
Oh my gosh. Brian won't be on next podcast because he'll be in Trackton.
Christ! What is wrong with you?
anyway, I think that War Machine
get
is
her money
better
right
than
now.
a lot of.
I don't know if it'd be better or worse if he was right.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my god.
He's wrong for the record.
I don't.
That makes it worse.
I don't have any.
$5 is fine.
$5.
You store that for me, baby.
Just a
That's
walking.
my walking purse.
I'm a walking purse. Excellent.
I think War Machine is better than I do expect that back. Than other communities, obviously,
I guess
like the whole reporter
fair
thing.
game.
And I think video games are actually like a cesspool of terrible people.
Yeah.
Or at least ones that speak very loudly.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
And it's
In
part of the
lots
reason
of
that a lot of the video game community is online.
Yes.
You know, not only the blogs talking about stuff, but the actual games. If I'm playing War Machine against somebody, I can see him, and he's 4 feet away. By definition, he's 4 feet away from me. If I'm playing Call of Duty against somebody, I don't know where they are. I don't know who they are. I'm never going to see them. And Penny Arcade has the great thing, their greater dickbag theory, which is average person plus anonymity equals complete shithead.
Yep.
And that's all you have on the internet is anonymity, which I'm pronouncing wrong, and I don't know why. I know the word in my head. But they're all going to be shitheads, and so that's why it's part of a cesspool. It's like, if I'm playing War Machine against Andy, I can't just talk about raping his mother to death the entire time without consequences.
Without
but that's
consequences.
all those 13-year-olds fucking do on Xbox Live.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the internet. It just brings up people say the stupidest things, and they don't even mean it, but it's so easy to say, and it's funny because you know you're getting a rise out of someone, so it
Well,
creates
but
this
the
other
more
layer.
you say it, even if you don't believe it the first time, the 100th time you say it, you believe
Yeah,
it.
you get.
Yeah. And I think that's the major thing that was about the whole scandal about cheating too, is just people jumping down the offender's throat.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
basically-
Well, yeah. There's a difference between I think this person cheated, and here's what I see, and here's my opinions on it. And well, really good start. I think it possibly was unintentional. Let me explain why. Versus that guy's a fucker, and I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to kill his family, and I'm going to send messages to his family saying I'm going to kill him and kill his family. It's
Well,
like,
that's
come on.
the thing is, I was so shocked because the Women of War Machine Facebook club, which women should join, because there are lots of women that I'm sure are going to
And
come out of the cracks.
Matt loves to let you in the group.
Yes. One of the things that they were saying, because
started
you know
the-
I see out of things mostly. I don't go to the forums very often. Is they were like they're getting death threats for cheating on a game. Like that's not humanly correct. That's not something that you
People go
do.
to death threats too easily now, and they don't realize that it can be taken kind of seriously. It's a death threat.
Because it's a death threat.
Yeah, it's a death threat.
Well, it's not just that.
I
It's
mean,
like,
And
this
it's
is
not
someone-
something said in the heat of passion. Like when you're having an argument and you're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like you can read my emotion and you know who I am, and there's a difference in that. And guess what? If you end up dead, the police are gonna come look at me and you're like, you give them a death threat.
I use the phrase "I'm going to kill you" at least 100 times a year, and I've only tried to follow through on it once accidentally. But typically, I throw. I mean, but on the internet, you have no context.
But you have no context, and the other thing is like you have time to think about it and write about it, and so it's not something that's said in the heat of passion anymore.
Yeah,
It's
you're
something
sitting
that-
there and you're like, do I want to slash her throat? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send her that email, so I'm going to slash her throat. And by the way, I know where you live. Here's your address.
which is fucking creepy, by the way. Like creepy. Maybe you should get a life creepy.
Yeah.
How dare you say that? I'm going to slash your throat.
Whoa!
Yeah, you are.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Well, that appears to be
strangest
like the
boner right
quickest way to shut somebody
do I have an
down
erection?
from even stalking. They would just like be done.
So anyway,
All right.
I think that women.
So these are
hopefully
all great tips for keeping women out of the War Machine
These are all
community.
great tips.
Doing
I
a
think-
great job, guys.
I think that women should be a larger part of the community, and like I said, I don't really offer any solutions other than trying to find common ground with women and trying to forge friendships. Other than like, hey, I really like that video game. You like that video game?
Treat them like a human being. Try to find the overlaps. You know, like you said, you had your examples like, well, you know, I don't have all the same interests you guys. I like dogs and board. I like fucking dogs. No, sorry, let's change that sentence. I fucking, as an exclamatory, not as an actual verb, I like dogs. I like board games. You know, so like. It may not have the overlap, but if you put the effort into it, and you don't have to do a condescending way, like, oh, she's a woman, she probably doesn't like video games. Let me see. So, sweetie, do you like knitting? I can pretend to like knit. You know, she's a human being with
Ask her
interests.
about Twilight or Harry Potter. That's your most safe bet. Start
Well, the other thing
somewhere.
is
Team Jacob, Team Edward, you know?
The thing is, you see both kinds, because the other thing you see is, oh my god, it's a girl playing War Machine, I'm going to hit on her.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
also not helpful for the
Here's
record.
the other thing. Okay, you see a girl playing War Machine. Let's say she literally has an army. Maybe it's nicely painted. You will go, hey, nice army.
Sure.
And that's what you want to mean. But you're like, man, if I go up there and say, hey, nice army, is she going to think, hey, the guy's hitting on me? When I really just meant, hey, nice army.
Right.
Probably not. By the way,
Yeah.
like I don't assume.
Well, I
when
say,
people-
hey, nice army. I mean, that's,
Here's the
that's
thing.
my.
It would
that's
look
my-
good in your vagina.
Here's the thing that I have thought my entire life, and Jeremy tells me I'm wrong. I think people are nice people. I think people just give each other compliments all the time. Jeremy tells me that's a form of hitting on someone when he gives them a compliment.
Depends on the person.
Women don't
Well, I mean,
usually
I can
think that
watch-
just because you're being nice, you're hitting on them.
Well, I can watch Nath walk up to a random girl and say things to them. I'm like, man, I think she should slap him. But she doesn't, and I know I can't say the same nice compliment, even if it's a thing about something, and not have it taken as, what the fuck is wrong with that
It's all
guy?
in tone, Brian.
Yeah, but my tone is, hey. That's just my tone.
You
Just
should work
go,
in your
just go
tone.
up and say, "How you doing?"
Yeah.
And there's also, you go up to a girl at a convention, and might say, hey, nice army. It comes out fine. And then her boyfriend's like, hey, wait a minute, that's my girlfriend you're talking. And it's like, Or they don't just say that, but you sometimes get this weird, like, overbearing vibe from the guy.
That is the flip side, by the way. Something that I noticed at War Machine Weekend and was a little disappointed in. So War Machine Weekend this year had a lot more women than last year. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed.
It's like doubled because there were 7.
Yeah.
How were there 3.5 last year?
I was there.
Would you not have legs? Are you a midget? Like, how are you half a person?
She only was in the convention hall for half of the event.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go with the surgery ended in January, but that's fine.
To be a woman, or to have the
That
legs?
was a joke.
Please explain more. Ah!
Jeremy was so disappointed after that.
Anywho, go ahead.
Anywho, there were a lot more women, but almost all of the women that were there that weren't there in previous years were there attached to the guy, which is fine. I met some really cool, like, and this is terrible. Now I forgot her name, even though I was on the podcast with her. Cool girlfriend, Ashley. I want to say
Ashley is
they're
it?
technically
Yep.
not
So-
girlfriend.
Okay, but
They're
his friend.
hanging out.
Anyway, his friend. So
They
Ashley,
don't have labels.
whatever.
Jeremy.
Ashley was cool, and I hung out with Ashley, and Ashley and I were on Your Turn
She
Go,
wasn't belligerent.
which got wrecked because they lost their audio, so no one will ever hear it. But her and I were like being belligerent towards the Your Turn Go guys and having fun, and it was a blast. But. And I hope that was Ashley. I was really drunk. I think it was Ashley that was on Your Turn Go with. But anyway, she was really cool. But she pretty much hung around Cool Kurt the whole time. And part of that is she doesn't know the community, which is understandable.
Right.
And part of it is she knows Kurt. And so those two things together are going to drive her to hang out around Kurt more. But it's unfortunate because then that means that she gets spoken of as Cool Kurt's girlfriend as opposed to as Ashley.
Right.
And the same was true. A gal was there with JVM, and her name I learned her name too, and I don't remember because I was really drunk that night. But she also hung around JVM a lot. And then also JVM would be doing whatever, and he'd come back to check on whatever she was doing. And so people that already knew Jake, their impression was, oh, there's Jake plus one.
Right.
Also, by the
opposed-
way, she was way cooler. She was super funny.
She was very funny. Actually,
And-
she was the one I was in Your Turn Go with. Ashley I chatted with separately outside the podcast.
It was
She was on our episode of Clusterfuckapalooza as
Was
well.
she?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was at the very end of it.
She
yeah.
was
I
fantastic.
kicked Kurt off and put her on
That was a
instead.
good decision.
And then I came back to the podcast.
So anyway, like they were both really cool girls that I met, and they were extra girls at War Machine Weekend, which was awesome. But both of them, because of the fact they hung around more, in people's minds, people don't remember her as Ashley. They remember her as Cool Kurt's girlfriend, and people don't remember her as. Obviously, I can't even remember her name right now. I remember her as Jake's girlfriend.
right.
they
And
weren't girlfriend and boyfriend, by the way. They were talking.
well, whatever.
Whatever.
Jake's friend.
The point.
The point is that
For
if-
the sake of the argument, let's pretend that they were boyfriend and
So
girlfriend.
let's
That's the
pretend
point.
that I brought a friend to War Machine Night, which did happen. Jordan and I started coming to War Machine at the exact same time. People don't think of me as Jordan's friend. Hopefully. I don't know, maybe that's okay. But they probably don't think of me as Jordan's friend. It's just like, oh, there's Jordan, there's Jeremy.
Well,
Right.
it's
But
Brian's
when-
friend.
Brian's friend. But
It's
when...
like, there's two new guys here. Is really what we thought of it.
yeah.
There's new
Whereas if somebody's comes with their girlfriend, even if they're both new, it's so-and-so and his girlfriend.
Although, on the other hand, like, what if you were gay and Jordan actually was your boyfriend?
Then maybe you would have thought of me
And
that
that's
way.
what I'm wondering. Because part of that is, if somebody... You're
But my
speaking of
point
people
is you never
showing
think of it the other way. Even if you meet them both
it
together
wouldn't be,
simultaneously.
here's Katie
I
and
don't-
her
It's
husband.
not the
Right.
same because Jay and his husband. I
Brian.
don't think of Jay and his husband. I think of Jay and Brian.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's fair. And that's the only example I know of in the War Machine community. There's probably others, but they're the two that I definitely know are gay and a couple. And I don't think
Well,
of him as Jason.
Brian doesn't play War Machine at all.
But he was there at War Machine Weekend, and I don't
Yeah.
remember. I do not remember him in any way as Jay's husband. I mean, I know he is, but I remember him as Brian. I remember his name. I remember
Oh,
hanging out with him.
And that kind
I
of
guess
falls in-
I guess I know him from a little bit before that.
That was the
Part of it-
subtext of
part
what I
of
meant
it
when I
is
said
the-
first thing is treat them as a human being. They're not an accessory. They're not an add-on. They are a person.
Right.
And that kind of umbrellas all the things we were just talking about for the last 15 minutes. Because also, like, when you talk to them like a person. Don't talk to them like a woman that you're trying to have sex with.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, and that's the other thing. Like I said, I'm
What?
super extroverted. But one of the things, one of the responses that I get from a lot of women is they don't like me very much.
That's true. You do get that a lot.
And I think it's because I come on too strong.
What?
I don't know why. So, like, guys will give me the benefit of the doubt, but women will not. And I think that's something that within our own sex is a problem, is we see each other as competitors as opposed to, like, instant friends, which we should all be instant friends, by the way. I like friends.
I like friends too.
So anyway,
There's
I
only
thought
like
this was-
3 people in the War Machine community as a whole that I wish were dead. Everybody else I like.
I-
All right, name all 3. Go.
We'll delete the thread later.
Okay, sure.
and then we'll never have
But
a
I mean,
Henrith
that's
episode.
the thing, is, like, you see other women in the community, and here's the thing, is you have a very limited pool of other women in the community. And one of the things that men experience is, like, I don't like those 4 guys in the community, so I'm just going to avoid them and talk to these other 4 guys. well, with women, we don't really have that as an option. I don't like these 4 women because I don't have anything in common. There are no other 4 women. And so even if we have nothing in common other than being women, maybe we should all be friends, at least civil to each other, and greet each other, and smile at each other, and acknowledge each other, because I don't even get that sometimes.
You know, it's true.
And stick together a little bit until there are more women in the community, and then we can avoid each other. That's fine.
Until you have a gaggle of women.
Until I have a gaggle of women, and then I can decide to be exclusive. But until
the proper
then,
term?
So you just want more women in the War Machine community so that you can not have to hang out with some of them. That's
Yes.
what it's like. It's
Yes.
almost down to there's some women out there that you really hate, and you're like, I need to get more women so for that
no. Well,
those
here's
ones
the
can
thing.
fuck off.
This is something that I've experienced, and I've been told. Like, I've met other women who've experienced the same thing. Is that, like, women don't like me very much, and I don't know why. Like, there's a common
Hey,
denominator.
I hear that a lot too.
I
Women
have,
don't like Brian very much, and he doesn't know why.
I have some
Like,
theories
there's
for
a
both
common
of you.
denominator. It's me. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong, and they won't tell me, so I can't fix it.
I have theories, but I won't get into it on air.
They just jealous.
Your theories
why you
play into
mentioned
the
them?
competitive nature of women
Yes.
when their sole thing is men.
Yep.
But I have to believe, because women are people, that there are things that may motivate them other than men. And
So,
so there
Also,
has-
your theory would hinge on something. You're saying that they're being hyper-competitive. They hate her because they're competitive about men. That means that they hate her because she landed you.
No, that's not what I said at all. All right, fine, I'll explain it. So my point with Katie is, when Katie walks into a room, every guy in the room notices. She's cute, she's bubbly, she's fun, she has a sense of humor, she's outgoing, and she's cute as a button. All of these things are true about
I
Katie.
do like flattery.
All of these things are true about Katie. And so she walks into a room, and every guy in the room notices her. Not all women are firing on all thrusters the way Katie is. Like, maybe they're
Thrust.
Well, here's the thing: is there's a problem with that, because if men view women that way, then how do women view themselves
cute. Right.
that way?
Right. And so my point is, if there's a girl already in the
Also,
room...
point out the subtle danger also that ties to what she just says is that by saying now the women are firing all thrusters like that, you're implying that everything you described about Katie is the correct way to be a woman.
No. I'm saying those are all things that get you noticed when you walk in a room.
Right, but my point is,
My point is, if
you're
if
saying that they
that's
don't
how
like her
men-
because they
Yes. Okay. So let me finish my analogy.
maybe
So-
they don't want to be bubbly.
So there's a girl in the room, and she's being noticed because there aren't very many girls in the room in a War Machine tournament, and so she's getting noticed. And then Katie walks in the room, and she's not getting noticed anymore. That will instantly turn on the competitive nature, not because Katie's married to me, but because Katie just drew the attention of the majority of the room, and that's what I think the women fight about, or why it's partly hard for them. In a community that's mostly male, it's in the workplace too. Like in a workplace that's majority male, which the team I work on is. Like I see the girls get very competitive with each other, and like none of us are trying to hit on them, any of them. Like, but they're still very competitive because they want to be the one that's standing out in the room.
Your entire theory is based on the assumption that a woman's predominant driving force is the desire to have a man, and that's a dangerous assumption
It
to
is a
design
dangerous
a theory
assumption,
about.
but I don't think it's that
and
wrong.
not necessarily wrong, but it's a dangerous thing to design
I
a
think
theory over.
that that's how women are brought up to believe
Sure.
in today's society, and I think that places that are male-dominated reinforce that thought.
Fair enough. Hooray! Discussions.
So anyway, all women should be friends with me, please.
Except the ones you hate, but they have to be friends with you until there's more that you can pick
See, I
from.
don't hate them though.
Has our Twitch stream have any comments based on all this discussion? There's so much things going on, and I never get to see what happens. Anything exciting?
There's nothing exactly. I mean, just a lot of people talking about other things. There's talk about another show that's going on right now, and some people having a fit that we're going over their time period. But
You mean when we start at 6 like we normally do?
yeah, we started at 6, and we've been
Anyway.
recording at 6. For
Anyway.
the past 2
Anyway.
years.
Moving on.
Anyway, more people shocked that Jeremy's talking. Zosha.
Oh, that's her name. That was the girl that JVM's friend, whatever. I don't know if she. But anyway.
Oh,
Zosha.
okay,
That was her name.
Okay, I thought. Yeah.
See, there you go. That's JVM's friend.
Well, but that's how I described her earlier because I couldn't
Thank you,
remember her
Annie.
name.
Point in case.
I couldn't remember her name, and I said that
Case
on
in
air.
point.
I said on
Point
air
in
that I couldn't
case.
remember her name. That was her name.
Whose
Anyway,
name?
Zosha.
Who is that?
Simpson.
The girl I was on Your Turn Go with.
Ah, there you
Nailed it.
go.
That got deleted. that broke.
That got deleted, sadly, but we were hilarious.
Did their recording machine have to sleep on the floor and broke?
No, I heard that it was really funny because she was like, they kept trying to talk about War Machine, and I kept trying, or they kept trying to talk about board games. And so I was talking about War Machine, and she compared Agricola to Haley, where it's no fun and nobody likes to play.
Yeah, nobody has any fun regardless of whether you're winning or losing. And so her and I started comparing. Every time they'd bring up a board game, her and I would start having this sidebar about which War Machine, caster, or faction that game was like. Even games neither one of us had ever played. We had fun.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I support it.
So should we move on to like a positive thing, like eating candy?
Or Zappity. Well, we have time for Zappity?
Well, we're about an hour in. I mean, we have time for candy. And if
Alright,
we
I
have
have
a
to
very
pee,
fast.
because I drink a lot today.
Okay.
All right. While Katie goes pee, I'll bring out the food and describe it.
Not pork rinds, I don't want those.
Those aren't pork rinds. I don't know. Ask the Twitch street. Their pork rinds are great. They're potato chips made out of pig. Like, what's wrong with that? But everybody I gave pork rinds to at Who's the Boss hated it.
Zosha is from
pork-
Warma Stream, I guess.
Well, I don't know Warma Stream, unfortunately.
That's
I'm
the
not sure.
podcast that she's on.
Well,
Yeah.
I
don't know
will
it.
eat pork rinds in the privacy of my own home, but not in public.
Yeah,
Fair.
I agree. That'd be,
I
Yeah.
will. That is.
So John Worrell, I assume that's how you pronounce Worrall, who is a avid listener, sent us food from Singapore, which is exciting because I think this is Australia might be further away physically, but Singapore is the most exotic place we've gotten food from so
I see
far.
the words barbecue pork.
think.
I'm instantly interested.
is that empty?
These are, I assume, wasabi peas, so those will go out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brian, we need to record Brian eating one of
wasabi
those.
peas.
They look
yeah.
like those look like wasabi peas.
That would be
We
my
have some pork jerky, mini barbecue pork, a taste of Singapore.
Oh, I want some of that.
Does somebody
These are
wanna-
interesting. These look like cookies. I don't know what they are because it's all in whatever. I think isn't kanji specifically Japanese or
Kanji? That's a
I
type
can't
of
remember-
Japanese writing.
Right, but my point is, it's not a type of Asian. Like, it's not a generic term for. Kanji is not a pan-cultural generic term for this style of Oriental language, or is it specifically Japanese?
Pork. I don't know if you're.
Either way, these look like cookies.
Does anyone
This
want
is-
Kanji is normal, and then
Barbecue pork?
katakana is the other one.
This is green Kit Kats.
Yes. So this is the hilarious thing is last week I talked
Brian,
about how I
barbecue.
was interested in all the flavors of Kit Kat they have in Japan because Japan's obsessed with Kit Kat. This was already in the mail at that time, and they are green tea Kit Kat
Could
bars.
somebody do
This
me a
smells
favor?
like dog food.
Could somebody do me a favor? Go into the kitchen and grab napkins, because I know Brian's going to spit whatever he puts in his mouth out.
Well,
I will grab
I
in a
started
second.
with the meat.
We
This is
have
amazing, by the way. This barbecue pork is amazing.
Ninjiom herbal candy original. I don't know what kind of herbs, but it's herbal candy.
That smells like dog food.
Chili tapioca, and then there was something else that got taken away from me. I don't remember
That
where
one.
it went.
Katie said it smells like dog food.
It kind of does, but I have no idea what this is.
The barbecue pork is good.
The barbecue
It is.
pork is really good.
Barbecue pork is delicious. I want to try a green tea Kit Kat, Brian. Hook me up.
Oh, I think that's because it's like I think that's a dried meat in the middle of this. Like it's a cracker wrapped around a dried meat of some kind, as opposed to like we'd almost be like a pirouette where it's the cookie
Except it's
around
meat.
chocolate.
All right, I'm gonna try a green tea Kit Kat here.
I specifically didn't have a
Try
real
this.
dinner.
I'll go
because
get a napkin.
I'm going to try this.
Brian's gonna try a meat pirouette.
And Andy, find Zappity Goma questions while we're doing this, so that it isn't just 15 minutes of us eating food.
Here,
Yeah,
do you
I
want
got
a
'em.
green tea
We
Kit
can look
Kat?
at my. Man, this is.
Was this left out of the box for
Ooh.
some reason?
Ooh, cookies of some sort. I don't know what kind.
I
of
think
cookies.
Nathan left them in there because he didn't want
I think
anybody
he
else
did.
to have
You want
them.
green tea Kit Kat? There's a whole bag right here.
All right, come on, people, be brave. Try this stuff. It's not bad.
I'll try it right now.
The green tea Kit Kats are delicious.
Has anybody had this
does not-
yet? Or am
Katie
I the
does
first
not
one?
like them at all.
I'm eating
Katie
it
made
right
a
now.
face about the
Oh,
green tea
this
Kit
was
Kat.
the missing
God.
one. Katie, pull this way. I wanted
They
to
do
show it.
stink.
Before.
They stink horribly.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste bad. So this is I don't know how to pronounce this. It looks like French and then Singaporese, but coke.
Coke dasses.
Das ist, it is probably another also green tea thing,
Oh.
like a cookie with like a green tea filling,
Where's
so like a
the
green tea
Tim
Tim Tam. That is
So-
chili tapioca. Let's open this up and
What
get that
is
out.
this?
Chili.
Actually,
Nobody, I don't
No one
know.
knows.
It's cracker and meat.
It's
Oh,
cracker.
it does.
it definitely tastes like a fish of some sort.
That's possible.
It is.
It almost reminds me of little mini taquitos.
More barbecue pork in my mouth. Brian,
They
more
like-
barbecue pork.
Looking
Yeah,
on here
more,
to
yeah.
see if I could spot where it might be.
The
But
barbecue pork, I tried something different, then I washed it out with barbecue pork and balanced everything back
you
out.
cannot go wrong with barbecue pork, as it turns
Tim
out.
Tams.
that's not part of the.
I'm done.
And yet they were on the
Very
table.
Interesting.
I'm gonna pass on that.
No, you have to try one. Try one.
Try one.
Everyone
It's
who's
okay.
actually eaten one has said that it's
Yeah.
not bad. It's
Brian
only
first.
I had one already.
Yeah.
Brian did.
The Shays are the only people who haven't tried one, and the smell is indeed interesting and not going to sugarcoat it, off-putting to an American palate, but when you eat it, it's actually kind of
it's
interesting.
shrimp.
It is shrimp. Okay, yeah.
I was going to say it had kind of a fishy flavor to
I mean,
it.
I like shrimp. Shrimp crackers aren't really my thing, but it's okay.
Ooh, this smells good. This smells like General Tso's chicken. This is the chili tapioca. The chunk I pulled out is big, Katie. You want to share it at all?
I will say
Tapioca should be like pudding.
Yeah.
I will say this though.
No, because
That stuff is so overpowering. I cannot taste anything from
Anything
the
else.
green tea. I still tasted that stuff.
My barbecue.
Ooh, this is spicy.
I can barely taste the barbecue over this. I'm gonna steal this bag up.
This is like spicy barbecue. Spicy. Okay, the spice keeps increasing, but it's like I think of tapioca like the pudding because we're used to eating tapioca, but
Really
these are
not.
actually just slices of it.
Zappity.
Is that good?
It is very spicy.
So, Jeremy,
Uh-huh.
are we done with basically introducing these?
Yeah, so we can eat those while people do tappy grumbles.
So, Jeremy, if you look behind you,
Well, do we want to do both weeks at once?
Oh my god, we have a whole other thing.
grab the paper.
Holy crap.
All right, we're double downing on our food.
We can put this off. That's fine too. I mean, that's no problem.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Give me. No.
I need to wash down the spice. Give me a Kit Kat. Where's the green tea Kit Kat?
The
Holy
chili
crap.
tapioca is good, but it is
really
spicy.
spicy. Holy
What is
crap.
this stuff?
Oh, those are wasabi peas, assumedly.
What does that mean?
It's wasabi something.
Eat it.
Oh, God, that's spicy. I just had a whole, like, chili seed lodge in my soul.
Wait. Has
Kat.
Brian tried the?
The chili tapioca?
No.
No.
Has he tried the wasabi peas yet?
He has
No.
not.
No, I know. No one will explain to me what that means.
No, it's
Wasabi is is like a spicy thing they eat.
Yeah.
I don't like spicy things.
Try it.
I just,
No.
I'm not.
Have a wasabi pea.
Just one wasabi pea,
yummy.
not all of them.
That was That was good.
Give me the wasabi peas.
The thing is, after eating the chili tapioca, that was
There's
nothing.
just nothing there.
I
Yeah.
just ate air.
That tapioca is some spicy stuff, man.
Yeah.
All right, just try
I
one.
see cocoa. I want cocoa.
I tried the dog food.
No, try one.
Oh, I did not have a green key Tit Kat.
Oh, you didn't? You should
And
have
these,
one.
these were not handed
I'll
out.
trade you for the Coke Diastas. No.
There.
Can you just toss it?
No, I
Kit Kat,
sat
there
down.
you
I got one
Right.
of these. I'm trying this. I'm eating this now. What is this?
Actually, wasabi peas are fucking amazing.
Wasabi peas are good.
There's something green in this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's probably green tea
probably green tea
flavored
flavored.
cookie of some kind.
How's my cookie be green?
Because of the aforementioned
Anybody have
green
a
tea.
favorite combo for Who's the Boss this weekend?
Well,
Oh, this is
I
tasty.
jackpotted into Ashland running Convergence, and that made me very happy.
Yeah.
That seems okay.
Yeah, the
I
previous round I had bankrupted with Convergence. That was not okay.
Unfortunately, I was out doing errands during Who's the Boss because I had to go get food and I had to arrange all the other things. So unfortunately, I did not get
What
to see
happens
a
when
lot
you
of the
do
pairings.
bankrupt with Convergence?
You assign a battle group to each one of your jacks.
Oh,
They
okay.
can only induct within their own battle group.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's pretty shitty.
Yeah, it's,
I had 3 jacks on Wrong Eye, and then Wrong Eye died. But what's great is I talked about it with Jordan Knack, who was my opponent in the game, and I'm like, so with the definition of Who's the Boss, all my casters are considered Convergence, right? Convergent casters have a rule where they can remotely reactivate jacks.
Ah.
So, like, Wrong Eye died, and then all my other guys, like, from 8 inches away were like, mine, and grabbed the jacks, and then they all died. But it made it a little easier.
The green tea cookies are pretty tasty. I think my favorite thing is still the green tea Kit Kats or the barbecue, though. Both were delicious.
I haven't tried them.
Have you tried? Oh, you did
tried
try
I
that.
did try that, but that was
Spicy.
really
The
spicy.
chili stuff I haven't
Brian,
Oh,
tried.
did you eat a wasabi pea?
It was so good.
You are a liar.
He
Try
has
one.
not.
It's a.
He has
I
not
don't
tried
like
it.
peas.
You will.
But
It's
it's
like a peanut.
dehydrated, so it's like a peanut because it's not soft. It's dried. It's crispy like a peanut. See?
It's like a peanut.
Yes. Did you have a favorite combo as the person running it?
I really enjoy your face, Brian.
So I don't try new things in public.
You could have left the
That
in public
stuff
out.
is definitely more hot than the other stuff. That stuff is actually pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, the chili tapioca is delicious, but it is definitely spicy. It is pulling no punches.
Can't get my barbecue.
You didn't answer my question, Andy.
I has this.
No, I said I couldn't actually. I didn't.
He didn't actually
really-
run much of the wheel because he was busy organizing other stuff.
Dan helped a lot with the wheel,
Yep.
Yep.
Dan got his hair cut. I told him it was
Yes.
fine.
It's a lot
which
better.
which Jeremy kind of figured out.
I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't remember that his hair was like down to the middle of his back,
I did not.
which is very weird.
Jordan shaved his beard off at some point, and I realized it one day, but I don't know how.
Like
I'm
your roommate, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm like, man, his beard's gone.
I wonder when that happened.
Yeah, I'm like, I noticed, but if I say something now, it could have been a week ago. I don't know. I don't like to look at people's faces. Like generally speaking,
I can't get this open. It makes me sad.
Well, your face is good because
Okay, this one.
you're pretty, but everyone else is awful, and I don't like to look at people's faces. Generally.
Another instance of sexism. Thank you,
He
Brian.
didn't say every woman. He said every person.
No, you told me my face was pretty. Thank you.
So I guess the other chocolates that we have then too. came from Tacoma, Washington, from one of our listeners out there, is Ben Meisner.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
He's a digital sculptor. I don't know if it's proper I should mention where he works for, but he works at some place that's over in Washington.
Oh,
Does
okay.
he have a 3D printer?
Probably.
Well, he's a digital sculptor, so
Yeah.
Oh my
Probably.
goodness.
I don't
But
wanna put
he donated
my
some
iPad
wonderful
with
treats
this
from
food.
Tacoma, Washington, which is dark roca.
I'll take that.
Almond roca.
Wait a minute, where's the peppermint one?
I don't know
want
what a
that one.
roca
Peppermint
is.
roca?
Let me try. I don't
You've
know
never had roca?
I don't know what a roca is.
It's a kind of candy. They sell. You can find almond roca at most stores around Christmas time for some reason. It's like
And there's
it's a thing.
almond roca right here.
Yep, almond roca, the classic one.
I want the regular, whatever the almond is.
Almond's the classic one. That
I
he's
don't
got.
want almond. What
I've
is
got
it?
dark roca over here.
I have peppermint. You want peppermint?
Thank you, Ben.
This is dark chocolate.
I'm not,
I
I'm not a
understand
dark
you.
chocolate. I don't,
It's
I don't-
basically dark chocolate.
I don't
and
like dark chocolate.
I want one of each, so Andy needs to give me one of those, and that way I have one of
What is
each.
this? This is almond.
Katie's
Almond.
got almond's the classic flavor, and then Katie's got peppermint.
I don't like mint and
I
chocolate.
want this.
Man, you're just
This is
wrong.
mine.
Well, then,
I couldn't.
then this is more for me. Katie, want almond?
No.
You're missing out, Katie. You should experience the whole range of roca.
Nope.
Just
The,
I
shop,
claimed it.
roca
just
range.
shop and put it
But
in.
then
Oh.
there's coconut on it.
Was the note was the note something to be read?
There's not coconut on
I
it.
did read it.
That's almonds, dude.
Those are
That's
almonds.
just crushed nuts.
They're
It's
almonds.
like toffee.
You said coconut.
No,
There's
it's,
coffee
it's
and
only
chocolate.
almonds.
All right.
They're almonds,
It's not
crushed
coconut.
almonds.
Which he says that the only regret is that they don't contain coconut.
All right.
Because coconut is delicious and Jeremy is a monster for not liking it.
I'm not the only one who doesn't like
Good
it.
job, Ben. I'm like the only person in this podcast who likes eating coconut.
How truly.
Like Andy, I forgot to take it home last week, but he has ice cream for me in his freezer because he bought it not remembering it had coconut in it.
No, I remember. I remembered it was German chocolate, but I continuously
Sorry, what's on the floor
forget.
next to you?
that German
sorry.
chocolate contains
Includes coconut.
coconut. Because of all the places that would have chocolate,
I like the flavor of coconut. I'm just not a fan of chewing my own cud for an hour.
the texture of it is just kind of bleh. And it's like flavorless texture.
Man, the dark chocolate one's really good.
What's the other stuff in there that's not roca?
No, that's mine.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
There isn't that many left in it. There is peanut butter mountain bars.
I'm one of those.
Oh, damn
Jeremy
it.
does like peanut butter quite a bit.
Oh, I love me some peanut butter.
There's one left.
I don't. I have this. I like toffee.
All right. Well, I'm already going to claim it then for myself. The cherry mountain. You can have it. Katie, you can have the other one. And then there's only two left, which is
Coconut mountain bars. Coconut mountain bars. Coconut mountain bars. Come
It's
on.
just a mountain bar.
Oh, okay.
There's no flavor. It just
It
blank
tastes like
bar.
mountain.
It just tastes like.
It probably just tastes like sugar, which would be amazing.
All right, I'm gonna put those two in the center.
And
And
then get going on the questions.
All right, let's zap either.
I'm gonna punish myself with more chili tapioca because that shit's delicious.
That stuff is
It's so
actually
spicy,
really
though.
good.
And
It's so spicy
You
though.
have toffee to follow the flavor.
I have more. When it's too hot, just shove more in because it's like fighting fire with fire.
No, that doesn't work.
I'm always,
Mm, no.
that's always my advice to shove more in.
Yeah.
Is that why you and Jeremy get along so well?
Jesus.
But he doesn't have more.
That you know.
I'm really trying to actually get to the questions here, guys.
They were on Facebook. I saw them.
I got them.
There you
All right, so we got one from Cliff Hughes asking bagels, toasted or not toasted?
Toasted.
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 What kind
Cream cheese, peanut butter, or what type of spread?
Cream
Cream cheese.
of cream cheese on bagels?
Cream cheese.
Yep.
I like onion bagels toasted with cream cheese.
Ooh, onion bagels are good.
I
I like
like-
most bagels.
I'm an everything bagel kind of guy, but
I like,
I
everything. I
really-
like blueberry bagels a lot.
I like sesame
Cinnamon
seed.
bagels.
Cinnamon
Sesame
bagels.
seeds are
Cheddar
fine.
cheese bagels.
no, that's the only one I'm going to disagree with.
I don't like that. Well,
I don't know. Bring me
Depends
one, and I'll let you know.
We'll have a bagel podcast.
and then bagels are
When,
just
when we
great.
go out, to eat at some place, I'll bring a bagel for you.
Panera.
Not Panera. I
come
like
on,
the
Panera.
local stuff.
He doesn't like Panera.
I know.
Panera's okay, but I mean, I like the local style.
What I like most about Panera is everyone tries their Caesar salad, which is atrocious, and is like, I don't like Panera. They have terrible Caesar salad. That's Jim.
I got their tomato soup one time because I just felt like I'm gonna have tomato soup and I'm gonna have a grilled cheese sandwich. I didn't have them make me the $15 grilled cheese sandwich, but I got the tomato soup. I took it home and I think I threw it out because it was the worst tasting thing I have ever had in my life.
That's false. Their
It-
tomato soup is delicious, and that's a fact.
It tasted like somebody took a.
Maybe you had a bad batch because I've had their tomato soup quite a bit, and it's delicious.
I would have much rather gone to the grocery store and picked up a can of Campbell's tomato
which is not as good.
This peanut butter mountain bar, by the way, is amazing.
Watch it slide out of the can into the pot and then mix it together with water. That I would have enjoyed.
Why would you mix it with water instead of milk? I don't understand you, Andy. You make bad decisions all the time regarding tomato soup.
All the time. This one time that we've discussed about tomato soup.
Yes.
I'm horrible.
Now I'm gonna go home and make Campbell's tomato soup and grill up a Spam and cheese sandwich to eat with it, and I'm gonna be happy.
That's fine.
I just
I was so
vomited.
mad at Raylene because I had bought like 5 different varieties of Spam the last time we were at the grocery store, and I came home and she had eaten the bacon
all of the
Spam.
Roca.
Wait, you
You
can't
mean
steal
there was
all the
spam?
Roca?
You bought the spam, the spam, the spam, the spam, and the
Okay.
spam.
No, I had Spam, I had black pepper
It's open.
Spam, I had jalapeno Spam, and I had bacon Spam.
Stop eating
I
spam.
haven't
It's
had a
delicious.
You
single
keep
pepper Roca.
claiming to be a
What?
smart person, and you buy spam.
Because it's delicious.
Stop it.
Zappity.
Grumble.
Oh man. Wrecking Ball. Discuss.
There was a naked guy on a wrecking ball to the song, and it was funny. Also, my mom thinks she's fucking the wrecking ball, which I think is also funny. Go, Zappity.
It's a catchy song.
Brian really enjoys it. He told me once. Zappity.
Grumble.
Was that the secret shameful thing you bonded over?
Well, I mean, I'm not
Nope.
sure of that. I mentioned that. I mentioned that on the podcast.
I don't know that you did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do like
Maybe
somebody
you
linked on
mentioned it so
Facebook.
much.
There was an SNL commercial for a medication for when you get vertigo.
Yes.
The moment you find out that you like Taylor
Swift-O-Mine?
Swift.
Yeah,
Swift
that
of
was
mine.
good.
Yeah, it was funny because I was telling that story.
you guys-
Thanks for finishing it though, Jeremy. I was having troubles.
Afraid not. Have you guys seen the one about Dramamine and how it's fantastic?
What?
It's what?
The
Drama
Dramamine.
Mine. Katie shared it on Facebook a while back. So it's
No.
all right. Katie will share the video.
You're
then.
not gonna let Katie finish
That's
her
the
story?
guy Jeremy saying, no, he's trying to talk over you.
It's quiet time.
We have that on a daily basis. No, Dramamine is something that you have to experience firsthand. It cannot be done through third party. Look it up if you are interested. It is hilarious.
Afraid not.
Afraid not. Zappity.
Grumble.
Grumble.
The girl's not very smart in that video.
The Milwaukee guys are wondering why we keep ducking them at Oshkosh tournaments.
Maybe because
Three
they're in
reasons
Oshkosh.
why. One, when they
Stop
have their
making
events
events.
on the exact same fucking day as Madison every fucking time. B, stop making events on the same fucking day.
So would you
Not
say
only
that they are planning to duck us so that they have an excuse
Yeah.
for not facing Madison?
Well, so we'll post an event usually 2 months out. Oshkosh will post an event 2 weeks out. So the Milwaukee guys have 2 months to sign up for our event, and then they go to Oshkosh anyway. I've missed I think one Milwaukee event in the last 7 years, and that was because it was a spell draft, and I don't like spells.
It
I
seems
didn't
like
know
a lie.
Oshkosh had events.
Oshkosh has been having a lot of events.
I haven't noticed a single one of them.
Is it hard?
I know. There's toffee in my face.
That's why.
Zappity.
And certain people play in Milwaukee that we don't want to deal with.
Wow.
Speaking of drama, mine.
When I see somebody sign up for a Milwaukee event, I don't want to show up.
Oh God.
Specifically, though, just one person.
Especially Travis.
Zappity, dear God,
For the love
Zappity.
of fucking God.
Grumble.
Grumble.
They can
No,
see us
like-
laughing.
Hey, the bridge isn't quite burnt yet. Let's blow some more fucking napalm onto it.
What is your folks' guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure?
Your guilty pleasure. Doesn't have to be fetish.
I have lots of guilty pleasures. They're so good. That's why they're called guilty pleasures.
Chocolate.
Wilson Joey's really good. Don't trust the apartment and
The B in apartment
23.
I wouldn't trust
It's
the
really good.
apartment in the B either. That's a
Don't
shifty
trust it.
apartment. How to get in there? Don't trust it.
The Originals is really good. All of these things.
Is it just TV related? Is that? I don't think it's just.
I don't
general,
have guilty
shows-
pleasures because I'm not ashamed of any of my pleasures.
In general, I'm embarrassed to
You
watch
should
many
be.
of the shows I watch on CW.
I
But
know
I
I
still
should
enjoy
be.
them.
I really enjoy The Big Bang Theory. Not this season. This season sucks. But other seasons, which I know you guys don't like.
They're fine.
There are lots of things I enjoy that most people don't approve of. But they're pretty popular.
Like Jeremy?
Because I feel like they're still around.
Why are you pointing at me right now?
I'm not. I'm serving up as a dish.
Zappity.
Never. You guys keep on zappity grumbling right as my mouth is full.
I guess you just can't eat.
There's so many half-eaten things in front of Brian. He's bad at food.
I'm gonna have
for
another
you.
barbecue pork. These are amazing.
That's why I got fucking
And I'm
napkins.
full. That's what I know, but they took them away from me.
They're
Zappity.
right there in front of you.
They're covered with stuff.
Zappity.
Which do you want to see first? Signar Heavy Infantry? Scoring 3-man character Cataphract Unit? Burrowing Convergence Jack? Or Pygmy Troll Warlock with Crippling Grasp?
Well, you'd think each faction would be a different answer, because obviously...
I want none of those things. I want Rhett stuff.
I'm indifferent to this question in every way.
That's true.
You know, a good way to get more women in War Machine is for if women who ostensibly played War Machine played War Machine.
Here's the thing, though. Like, Jim and
Especially
I...
like really famous members of the community.
I am not famous, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
Second
Yes,
of
you
all,
are.
Yeah, you are.
here's the thing, is Jim and I are very similar in the fact that he's crotchety, and I find that funny. And two, we both realize that there is an innate amount of time that you have to put into this game in order to be good, otherwise you can be frustrated at how poorly you're doing, and I feel like I would have to put a lot of time in this game in order not to be frustrated with myself, and I already want to stab people when I make a mistake. Brian can attest to this fact. And so and Jeremy is so fucking nice to people that makes me feel like a terrible person when... Remember that one time when I was talking to the one guy and I was like, I'm very upset right now.
Yeah.
Please stop talking to me. And he just wouldn't. I just want to stab his fucking eyes out.
Yeah, he deserved it, though, because, you know, even if he didn't deserve it when he was talking, once you said, shut up, I don't want you to talk anymore, you're really upsetting me, and then he kept talking, because he was like, I'm upsetting her, I must not be talking the right way, so I will continue to talk even though she just blatantly told me to go away. That's not what you do,
Yeah.
idiot.
Like, here's the thing that I've been told about my communication style quite a bit, is I'm pretty straightforward.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't know, I feel like the things that you may be saying are bothering me. No, I was like,
Many women may be very sly in their hints. Katie is not.
I am a very sore loser. You're bothering me. I was trying to talk to Nathan. If you could please be quiet, that would be really good. And he didn't understand that particular hint. Anyway.
It's not what we call a hint anymore at that point, by the way.
Well, I don't know, if you don't pick up on it, it must by definition be a
Be a
hint.
hint.
Like,
Yeah, I guess.
like, we all might have been able to pick up on it, like, it was beyond hint realm. For this guy, it was not.
I'm confused how I'm too nice.
You are so nice to everyone we meet.
Hmm?
It's ridiculous. You are the nicest person on this podcast, and I don't
That is setting
understand
the
why.
bar really low.
I don't care. You're like one of the nicest person I've ever met to people who I just want to stab.
I hang out with these guys. My threshold
He's
for
almost
patience
as
is
nice
really
as
high.
me. What?
That's a ridiculous statement.
I'm not a big fan of wasabi peas. Like, I don't eat them in general when I get them around here. These are really good.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would play if I had more time to play so that I wouldn't be just frustrating, terrible person.
Well, the
Non-sarcastic question. Just not caring isn't on the table?
Oh.
What do you mean?
You said that the problem is you don't have enough time to get good enough to not care that you're losing. Is just
like
not
to get
caring
away
that
from
you're
her.
losing not on the table?
That's not an option. I
just not
get
an
very upset when I lose.
I'm going to try dark chocolate.
Katie, he wants to try dark chocolate.
That's nice. I'm a very
Sorry,
competitive
Andy.
person,
Uh-huh.
and I like
I don't know
to
what to tell
smash
you.
people in the face.
Describe one, Jeremy.
She has it sealed. It's literally
I-
sealed in her lap.
And I have found
See, I didn't want that to happen.
that I lose a lot of friends when I am my true self in the competitive nature. I can be competitive against Brian. For some reason, he likes.
Just borrow
Being
your
yelled at.
husband's
Yell
legion
and
and you'll
swear
win.
we get over it really fast. Yeah, you just have to like take the abuse for a little bit, and it's fine.
That's true.
It's like that picture somebody posted on Facebook that they said this must be Crippled System playing a board game, and it said if you're not willing to lose every friend you've ever had over a board game, you're not really trying.
watching
I've
That's
lost
Katie's
friends.
impression about War
Watching me,
Machine.
Katie, was it Jeremy and Andy? Watching Andy play Waterdeep with us for the first time, watching how mean we are to each other. People are like afraid.
My mom says she'll never again play Waterdeep with Katie and I because we were partway through a game, and Katie and I we're both clearly like beating my mother by a lot, and I was also clearly in the lead of Katie, but I didn't have more points. I was
Yeah.
just clearly in the lead, and my mom
Which,
played.
by the way, people stop falling for the fact that when Jeremy doesn't have the most points, doesn't mean he's not in the lead.
Well,
Because he's
wait,
sitting on like a 50-point
Well,
quest.
in
and he's gonna
Waterdeep, but
skyrocket.
see, that's true for
Whoever's
everyone. He
name
just
I
doesn't
couldn't
worry.
remember at the time when I called him Hungerford.
Oh.
That person. You know who you are.
But anyway,
Inevitable betrayal.
But anyway, so my mom played a mandatory quest on Katie in that situation, and Katie lost her shit on my mom.
Much like how I experienced it there.
Yes,
I,
much
I
like-
did it really more deviously, like on the
you at
second
least knew
last
what you were
turn.
doing.
Yeah.
No, my mom was like totally innocent, like
She was
lambs
not
to the
innocent.
slaughter.
She was allowing
walking-
her son to win, and it was bullshit. Anyway, Jim and I are very similar.
I love when Katie texts me after I play in a game on the iPad, which is so mad at me.
That's when you know you've done well that turn.
Yeah.
I'm sad that we don't play Small World anymore because that last game took 7 years.
I was so happy when there wasn't a new game
I
started.
was so happy when that game ended, but I was hoping we'd play again and,
I need to find people
how
who
do you
would play Small World who can take their turns every day.
Just don't invite Billy.
But
Billy.
I mean, Billy's a great
Speaking
guy,
of
but he's
Billy,
so slow in
where was
board
he?
game in Small World.
He
Who was
didn't come
Billy?
to Who's the
None of the
Boss.
Cedar Rapid people came to
Yeah.
Who's the
We had
Boss,
no
and
Cedar
nobody
Rapids.
knows why.
Well, we
He
didn't
was
go to their
upset
events.
because he lost in Small World. If he could remember,
He was
they played
doing
it
pretty
like
well
10
that
years
game.
ago.
He's just so slow.
I was actually surprised none of the Cedar Rapids guys were there.
So, hey, if you're a listener and you
But
play
the
Small
Iowans
World
were
on the
there.
iPad,
Iowans
The
were there.
Des Moines guys.
We
So
had
hooray
some
for the Des Moines
Iowans,
guys.
just not Cedar Rapid, Iowa. Yeah.
We had-
By
yeah.
the way,
all the awesome guys. from Iowa.
Iowans, I am actually upset. I mentioned to several of you of allowing one person to dictate your trip, and one, because one person shouldn't dictate the trip. They should just drive separately. It's an option. And two, because you're inconveniencing me, which is the most important thing. Continue with your rant. Someone else.
Zappity.
This will definitely be something Katie can help talk about
Oh,
here.
good.
Yep. Why do
Because she's been
people
so
not
quiet so
talk?
far.
Why do people not talk about Lich 2 when talking about Crix anymore? Is he not the best, or just played out? I was being sarcastic.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
How do you spend?
Is that the one with the skirts and the snakes?
Yes, that's the one with the skirts and the snakes, and that's the greatest description of Gatsby 2 I've ever heard in my life.
I am gonna make a shirt that just has a picture of Lich 2, and it says the one with the skirts and the snakes. It's gonna be amazing.
Because it's so accurate.
Except they're not snakes or a skirt.
Well,
Hey,
you
they
know.
are. They could be.
They could be.
They could be snakes. They could be. That could be a skirt.
To be fair, I know who she's talking about.
Exactly.
Because he's totally wearing a skirt, and there's a bunch of snakes coming out from under
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly. That is
They're
not-
even green.
Yep.
Yeah,
not
yes.
wrong.
What are you guys talking about? Why are
The guy with the skirts and the snakes. You are 100%
You're
right.
100% right.
I'm not being sarcastic. You are picking the right model. People have moved on, is the short answer. If somebody bothered to actually play with him again, they would win tournaments and he'd be super powerful. It's just people have moved to other things.
Well-
Keith stopped playing Crix. I mean,
Yeah.
people have moved to other factions.
Well, that and he's. I mean, people know how to fight him. I mean,
That too.
they have a pretty good idea of how
Even
to
when
counter him.
even when you know how to, much like Morvana 2, even if you know how to fight Gatsby 2, he's still going to be at worst a break-even game. Like the fact that people don't play him isn't because he can't win. They just got tired of him, I guess.
I'm sad that Convergence is innately good against both of those casters by nature of having 0 living models,
Right.
and people stopped playing both of them right when I got into Convergence.
Yeah.
Sadness. I'm like, hooray! I don't even have to net deck against him. I just have a built-in immunity, and people are like, no, not anymore.
No,
Maybe
not
that's
anymore.
why they stopped playing them.
They're scared of me.
Yep, that's it.
Yup.
Specifically.
I've picked my 4 conventions for next year because I found out that Daikon is really close. I didn't realize Daikon was really
Daikon-
close.
Daikon-
Yeah, so I'm going to do
We
Adepticon
went
War
to
Machine
Daikon.
Weekend, Daikon, and Gen Con this year.
There you go.
Yeah, several of us went to Daikon this year.
Yeah, Daikon's pretty sweet.
I've been
It's-
to 3, yeah, I've been
usually that's like the cheapest out of all the cons.
Yeah.
There's a 4% chance I'll go with you. Zappity.
Gumbo.
All right, and the last question here is: if Mercenaries got a synergy caster, what jacks would be best? Buccaneers, Talons, Vanguards, or Nomads?
Vanguards, because cheap jacks are amazing with synergy.
And a couple more
Nomads only cost 1 more, though.
Which
Yeah.
are the
And
ones
hit a
that
lot
you
harder.
don't like with the non-reach?
Buccaneers.
Those are those are freebooters.
Freebooters.
And they're
Freebooters.
terrible.
Freebooters,
is
yeah,
the
that's
actual
what's-
answer.
Yeah, I was naming another.
Freebooters would almost work because they could chain attack double-handed throw models towards each other to build up the synergy chain.
off the same model.
I guess
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah, they're just like, I'm done with this one. You hit him next. Me too. You go next, and they would all just beat up on the same the jack.
I
would be
guess.
pretty
The same trooper model is probably the best way to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he'll live.
Probably. That would be funny if you just tossed a tough troll back into your lines.
One of my favorite modes was Pat overextended with Kruger 2 one time, and so he just had all of his jacks start two-handed throwing him back towards his deployment zone.
Yeah,
Is what
no,
you
that
would
was
see.
against me.
Like Kruger 2 is just flying through there like this
Kruger
Warpwolf's
2
like
with jacks?
Beast
The
rather.
Beast.
Okay.
So the like Warpwolf stalker's like, here you go, boss, and just one-handed throw him, and then the Gorax is like, oh my god, get further back, and just kept throwing him back towards his own deployment zone. So
was my game.
I mean, it got him like a foot further away, but it also made him be knocked down on 4 hit points, so it did not work.
No, that's
Knocked down behind a wall.
Yeah, he
I
was.
feel
my-
like if you're in that situation anyway, you're already just reaching for straws.
Yeah, I think he like forgot to cast that defensive shooting spell where like
Yeah.
Ranger Reduce or whatever.
Oh.
Like he ended his turn and moved on. Is like shit, he's gonna die, and then just panicked and started throwing him. Just the visualization of that in real life, like his beach just going, "Oh, we'll save you!" Just whipping him over their shoulders.
That's funny.
It's an approach.
Does our chat have any Zappity Grumbles for us?
I didn't see any.
I love our update in our chats.
This continues to be very spicy.
Keith had
Yeah.
did the captain have
Like
any more
a
wisdom
peppermint?
for us?
No.
Good.
Well, damn it, Captain.
It's gone.
We do enjoy hearing from the captain.
Yeah.
No,
I will
mean,
say-
there's some talk about a cool bar that's up in Oshkosh. I just didn't. I'm just looking for specific
Oshkosh
things.
makes good suspenders.
You don't see
Oshkosh,
suspenders
begosh.
very often.
That's because they're suspenders.
Those are bracers for our British listeners.
Yeah, I did not know that. But yeah, I am grateful to our listeners who
Would you
send
like
us
a rubber?
food and candy.
Yes, thank you.
By the way,
It's the only thing I know.
What a way to perpetuate the Wisconsin stereotype.
What?
We should
Sending us
start
more
sending
food
out
and
like
candy.
we should start,
Hey,
We are fatties.
if you wanted to spend money on food for us, you could also instead spend money on an amazing Crippled System T-shirt,
Some
Crippled System
shitsome?
T-shirt, or mug, or buttons, or trucker hat, available at Zazzle.com/crippled system.
by the way,
Also,
my
turn safe search off because one of the shirts has a word that it flagged as being PG-13. So if you have safe search on,
I think I did. I don't think I've seen that shirt because I think it must by default be on.
yeah,
Which shirt is that?
it says "I'm Jeremy's fetish,"
and
and the word fetish flagged it, so
I
I had
haven't
to
seen
set
that
it at
one.
PG-13. Oh my god, that is a lot of holy shit.
These are for someone else.
I thought that those two shirts should exist. Okay, Brian's showing me the bunch of the designs that the gentleman has sent to us, and the top two I was gonna make not as graphics, just with text. I'm glad I didn't.
Handoff.
Also, here's
And we're
the
getting
thing.
more as
you could
well.
also just send us money.
A little gauche, but you could. But why not wear the T-shirts and show everybody you love
Two of those
of
shirts.
everything?
Okay,
They
buy
were
the
crossed.
T-shirt, spend twice as much, and send us the.
I actually I think it's funny that the default view on the crippled I am crippled system's biggest fan. The default view is the back, and so
Yeah,
all you
they
see is
were
the
all
back of a
default viewing
shirt
the
that
back.
says
I think-
"System's biggest
I
fan."
think some of those ones with text. I think they should be other than white. I think we need.
I couldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
The
more
problem is-
designs are going up.
Yeah, most of the shirt colors were black or dark colors like black or red or dark blue or whatever. So I used white text just because when you go in there, the shirts are default as a single color, but you can change those things to like any color shirt you want, and you can even change them to make them like women's shirts or hoodies or
Yep.
baby bouncy onesies. Like you can change the product on those designs.
I don't think you're supposed to bounce babies.
You can. They're really soft and
We're
they go
getting
boing.
the guy who made these. Well, obviously these. When I'm showing Nathan, these will go online in the near future. He's sending me some custom Jeremy shirts coming up next.
There's more custom Jeremy shirts.
There's a custom Jeremy
Oh,
shirt.
dear
I sent him
God.
some image. I sent him some images, and he's spending days and days getting the
You
Jeremy
sent him
shirts.
images of me.
Yeah, but he has been customizing shirts.
Oh,
for
dear
me for
God.
days.
My
Fine.
crappy stopgap text-only ones will probably go away once these better shirts go up.
That makes sense.
That makes them limited edition, so you should buy them.
Yeah.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or send us
Recommendations.
money.
Recommendations. Katie, what's your recommendation?
I recommend the expansion to Terra Mystica. I think it's really good.
Fire and ice.
There's fire and ice. So the ice people are super, super good. The fire people, as far as we can tell, just based off of Jeremy playing them, are not good. Based off of Jeremy playing
To
them.
be fair, he's on a.
I've been on a real losing streak with Terra Mystica. I still love the game, but I haven't been able to win a game in a while.
I made 3 mistakes in the last game that cost me the game. It was a hardship that I am very regretful and very angry about at myself. But I was paid off for a cheap amount.
It was. Katie
Disappointed
is
about that.
But both the shapeshifter one, the colorless one, quote unquote, and the ice people do seem very, very powerful. And the fire people have some things going for them that are not as good as the things.
Well,
the other two new
I
races
wonder
have going
because
for
when
them.
you see I know the Giants, but you just fart.
Yes.
Okay. The Giants are really bad in the original, and so
They're
I always
terrible.
just wonder about the ones that are terrible, and it's like, what makes them so terrible? Like, when they were designing this game, what did they expect this race to be able to do? And so you have to wonder the same thing about the fire people.
Yeah.
Also, they're orange, which is odd.
Yeah, well, it's because red was already taken. The problem with the
I'll
fire...
tell you what they thought with the Giants is they're like, let's make it so that they are equally able to use any terrain.
Yeah.
Because the terrain, like the flexibility of being able to use any terrain is huge, and so but we can't let them mine any terrain for one. That's just too good. So
Yeah.
we'll just make it two.
Two.
Turns out that's terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, I know, but it seems like they would have fixed it somehow.
Well, the problem with the fire people is the same problem. Like, they tried to make the fire people cool in that they terraform anything equally. So it's the same problem as with the Giants. But the side I played, and the other side has a similar problematic mechanic. The side I played, the way you terraform is you either go down 3 or 4 levels in a single religion track.
Yeah, but you keep going up the religion track. Like, you go up the religion track much more than other races.
You don't.
as
They
well.
don't actually. Their only bonus they have to go up the track faster is if you somehow get a shovel accidentally. The shovel you go up 1 track. like I was going up the track a lot because I knew it was the only way I could terraform, and so I was spending all of my points going up the religion track. I was buying priests, I was getting priests and everything, and in the end, I still didn't win the religion tracks because I'm going down 3 or 4 levels in a religion track. Like if it was 2 or 3, they'd be amazing. They might be too good, but the problem is that it's 3 or 4 is just too horrifically expensive.
Yeah, so I wonder because they released it, like obviously they play tested it, and so at some point they were like, nope, these are fair.
They might have
why
done-
would you?
But you don't know that. That's the thing. I'll stop you right there. I know it's an interrupt, but it's because I'm interrupting at the perfect statement. They might not have said that. Like Blood Bowl is famous for this. There's like how many races are there in Blood Bowl, Andy?
There's like 23.
Like 23, a couple dozen races. At least 6 of them are completely unplayable shit. Like you'll win 1 game out of 10 if you're completely
like Legion
lucky.
Infantry.
Yeah,
Like there are races
play,
that are brutally bad, and there are a half dozen races that you could win if you were comatose. Like Skaven win, halflings lose. It is a fact. It's not skill based. They're just not equal, and they just don't care. They just don't care.
They're
I
just
don't
more of a
understand
challenge
that. Like
for
that's
those.
just so my personality type. 'Cause
My
it seems like if
problem-
you're producing something, you want to produce something that obviously I'm on this podcast, so there's that. But it seems like you want to produce
Well,
something
we've
that would
only-
be like, I have play tested this, and this is the best that it can be, and this is the most
Well,
fair.
we've only. I mean,
Did
we
you like
played.
that subtle hit against our podcast?
I
We've
did.
only played that race once, and it was only Jeremy. We haven't had someone like Katie or me who was
They
better at the
could be
game play
harder,
it.
not worse.
Yeah, it
It's
could be
possible.
harder. Like Chaos Mages are very hard.
But
Are
I've done
they
well,
hard,
but I've done well with
Brian?
I've done really well with Chaos Mages too. Like it wasn't an anomaly that you did well with Chaos Mages. I've seen them do
Also,
well.
after the game, you should know that Jeremy was like, I'm pretty sure Brian is cheating.
I was so angry. I lost so bad at Terra Mystica lately. I've been so upset.
I think also that what's the expansion? That's a great expansion to me in the regard that
Oh.
it just added a couple. All it did, it was very simple. The game
Yep.
stays the same. It added a few races so you can play or not play them, and it just tweaked a
Well, it added
couple
the most
generic
important mechanic
customer
in
things.
any
Which is the
game.
passing
The passing
mechanic.
mechanic. It fixed so a lot of games have this mechanic where the first person pass goes first the next time, which is great for that person and completely broken for whoever's immediately whoever immediately follows them. So if it's a game where you rotate to the left, whoever's left of that person can be the last person to finish their turn, and they still get to go second.
Yep.
And that's just broken. And there's lots of games that have that, and it's just bad. It's a bad
You wanna
way
know
to do
something?
it.
Sorry,
but they
I-
fixed that mechanic in the new expansion.
Kalis does a good job with that with the stables.
Yes, in that everyone, and this one does the same thing, where the order you pass in is the exact turn order for next time.
So you want to know something that's really strange to me is
What?
people from other countries deal cards in the opposite direction as people from America.
That's true.
Just because they're upside down.
So if
The
you play a
toilet flush
Steve
ability.
Jackson game in another country, do you play it then clockwise again? Steve Jackson game, never mind.
I know what you mean.
I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing that seems like it shouldn't because we're from Europe, so I don't. It seems like we would have stayed the same. It's just a weird thing to flip.
I'm going to eat all of these wasabi.
So that was Katie.
No.
Good recommendation.
I am going to recommend a video game called Planet Side 2 that's been out forever. My understanding it's years.
Sorry, it was already recommended last
You guys
week.
recommended it last week.
We
don't you?
recommended last week.
You son of a bitch. All right, well, I recommend the thing that you guys recommended last week. I'm done. You son of a bitch. It was Brian, wasn't it?
Maybe.
You recommendation stealing son of a bitch.
and then I stole Brian's thunder in reminding you that he recommended it.
I hate you all so much. Anyway, it's a great game. If you do play it, add me your friends list Valiant 418.
So
I'm
old.
just checking out. It's a really cool game. It's very
old.
fun. It is old, but they've made a lot of updates to it, and I think that it's a game that has real potential if you play with a group of friends. I think it would be a miserable game to play by yourself. I've said this about Destiny too. If you're playing Destiny by yourself and you're enjoying it, you're a masochist. If you're
Yeah.
playing Destiny with a group of friends, it's an amazing game. It can be a lot of fun. But PlanetSide 2 is even more brutally that way. Playing PlanetSide 2 by yourself is an exercise in complete futility where all you do is die and you accomplish nothing. Playing with a group of 8 to 12 friends would be glorious.
Yeah, and at least that's more people than what Destiny allows.
Yes.
Nigel and I had a very long discussion on Destiny, so we're not taking away
okay.
from PlanetSide
Yeah.
2. The fact that we were always on the outside of the 6-person groups.
Oh, that's
so,
the worst.
So
You're the seventh guy.
We're like the 7th, 8th, 9th guy. So we would have to, if we were called in to replace somebody, which the group would have wanted there in the first place. And if you did something wrong, then
Yeah, that's why we don't call you in.
yeah,
sort of comment.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that game made the game. I really enjoyed. Nigel and I, we would run around,
Yeah.
doing quests and that. That was fun. But the fact that we just had no chance of raiding, just that really
I
took
finally
a
have
lot
a
of
big-
the thunder.
I finally have a big enough friends list that I can like get a group together to run the raid. But the other thing that a lot of my friends have done, and they said it's saved the game for them, is there's like an LFG group just for Destiny.
Oh,
like,
for
if
like
you
a
look-
chat channel?
Yeah,
or
it's a forum, and
Okay.
I think it might be on Reddit. I forget, but it's
Okay.
basically Destiny looking for a group, and all it is people either posting that what their level is and that they want to raid, whether normal or hard, or saying, hey, we have 4 people, we have room for 2. And then all you do is you just message those people and you just jump into a raid right away. And they said you can just always get into a raid group that way. Now, it wasn't working. There were a few days ago, there was something wrong with the friend search functionality in PSN, which is not Destiny's fault. But so you couldn't add people that weren't already on your friends list, which was problematic. But assuming that's not broken anymore.
And that element's really important, like having the group
Yeah.
to play with. I mean, for PlanetSide, for Destiny. When I'm playing WoW, like on Tuesday, like you guys, I couldn't went over to you guys' house, but I specifically stayed home to raid.
Yep.
Because it was the first time raid with new people, and I wanted my name there the first time they did something. And,
Yep.
I know what it's like. If you missed that first time, then
It's
you're not
really
part
hard.
of the thing.
Yep.
So it's all about making sure you're there when an opportunity
It's
arises
true.
itself.
It's true.
Because it's all about the do things group.
Yeah.
Like when Nathan plays Borderlands with everyone, we all play him on the PC.
No, you don't.
I feel sort of like I hijacked. I got everyone to play in the PC, and then I didn't like it.
I play the Borderlands pre-sequel. It's single player 90% of the time, and then a random listener will hop in and play with me for a couple hours, and then go away, and then I'm single again. I just cycle out a few people, and I'm alone and sad.
I'm surprised Jim doesn't play with. He plays more. I thought.
I haven't seen Jim in a while, and you two don't play, obviously.
I really wish I would have kept the PS3. I think
That wouldn't have helped it for me. It was the game itself.
It wouldn't have been able to help with me because my PS3 doesn't. I haven't. I might have bothered to replace my PS3 then.
Your
but-
PS3 broke?
Oh, it's been.
It's very. It would it would freeze up and drop me a lot. It
I
was
didn't
it was
realize that
dying.
sucks.
It was originally 60 gig. It's one of the
Oh,
original
the
launch
original
60
ones.
gigs
Okay,
ones,
yeah.
which I love because it's backwards compatible fully. 'Cause
Yup.
yeah.
Which I'm jealous that mine didn't have. Not that it matters now because I have a PS4, but I
Right.
wish my PS4 were PS3 compatible. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Even when I buy a new PS3, I'll keep my old one to just play my PS2 games
Which
on.
makes sense.
But yeah, that was
I
one
think
of the
some
things
things
I
aren't
wish.
backwards compatible, by the way. It's stupid.
Yeah,
I-
but then
yeah,
they can release
I don't understand
Kingdom
why-
Hearts 1.5 and 2.5
I
and
understand
stuff.
why they
but-
do it. I just think that it's.
I agree,
dumb.
it's frustrating. But anyway, so even though Brian stole my thunder last week, I recommend PlanetSide 2. And also Destiny with friends.
I've just heard that it's a very good PvP game.
It's
I know
really
that-
well done. The classes are all really different.
I know that the game that I played for a long time was Dark Age of Camelot. Stole a lot of things from PlanetSide.
I can believe that.
How
The
they
other
do
thing
the
is,
PvP.
if a bunch of our listeners are interested and play PlanetSide, I'm not an expert in PlanetSide 2, but if there are a bunch of listeners, and I'm talking like 30, like you need a good core number of people to get a clan. I will happily found a clan if we have like 30 listeners that are interested, but I'm not going to found a clan for 6 people because 6 people, even if you're all on at once, 6 is like still a small number in PlanetSide 2.
But you can do like
Can
cool
you do,
little
like, little strikes
subtle
with
subtle
that, though?
things you can do that you can run
You
around.
can,
and-
but in my opinion, if you have less than 5 or 6 people, you cannot do something impactful. Like you need 5 people or 6 people that are on at the same time. So if there's going to be 6 of us total, we should just join an existing clan and also play with each other in that clan.
It's
So-
a shame.
Each other. That makes sense.
But the squad
Bonding.
the maximum squad size is 12, and a squad size of 12 can have a massive impact on a battle. Like if you have 12 people that are on together, you can significantly impact the game world. But I ran around with just my brothers. There were 4 of us running around together, and 4 people can have an impact. But if we'd had one more guy, it would have like there's a tipping point
Yeah,
where 3 is
it's-
not enough. 4, you can like sort of start to tell you're doing something, and then 5, it would be just like, oh my god, we're actually having an effect here.
Yeah, that was the same with Dark Age too. Is you would run around with a group of 8.
Mhm.
You could play as picking up stragglers that are trying
Yep.
to get to the fight. You can
Yes.
go
And
strike another keep while
The,
to try
the,
to get people to
the
run
biggest
over there.
vehicles carry 12 people, and the max squad size is 12.
Yeah.
So if you can have 12, there are 12 of you on at once, you will be doing some major things.
Zappity.
Grumble.
Damn it!
Jesus.
Is everyone looking at me for recommendations? I don't
Because
have
you're to my
any.
left.
Damn it.
We can skip ya.
Yeah, you can skip
You
me.
can't be skipped. You have to have a
All right,
recommendation that
I'll
blows their mind.
stall for a second. My recommendation is shut the fuck up about lightsaber cross hilts. Who fucking cares? There's a giant bear monster guy with a bandolier that has a crossbow that shoots laser guns, and nobody gave a fuck for the last 27 years. Shut the fuck up about lightsaber cross hilts.
Fun fact: I have yet to watch the video.
It is a lightsaber with a lightsaber
I'm
cross
aware
hilt.
that there's a cross hilt.
It looks cool.
I haven't seen
Who
it.
the fuck cares if he'd cut his hand off? Who the fuck cares if a lightsaber would go through the supporting structure as opposed to going through the beams itself? They're magicians in space that shoot lasers and fly around. Shut the fuck up.
I heard Stephen Colbert did a thingy on it.
He did.
Yeah.
Somebody did ask if you even watched the trailer or even were aware of the trailer.
I knew the trailers. I'm intentionally not watching it. The problem is the movie's so far away that I'm going to have one of two reactions if I watch the trailer.
Only a year.
Yeah, that's a long ass time, Andy.
The trailer has nothing at all in it.
So
It's like 6 disjointed images.
So I'm either going to be like, oh man, now I've like my taste has been whetted, but I haven't seen anything, and so now I'm just going to be in abject agony for the next year waiting for it to come out. Or I'm going to see something in there that rages me, like the cross-hilt thing that's done to people, and I'm just going to be angry for a year.
The second thing I see that most causes the most annoyance is the droid in the ball, like a soccer ball in the droid. Guy.
It's,
Yeah,
it's like a
Gives
rolling
like-
soccer ball with a droid
That just
head
gives
on
like
it.
a bad like, man. Are we going to see more Jar Jar antics? Is that what it's trying to imply?
That should just be done to the
better
Beach
not be.
Boys' Good Vibrations.
Yeah.
I do have a secondary one about that too, though, which is to shut the fuck up about black stormtroopers.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't know he's a stormtrooper just because he's in stormtrooper armor. Luke and Han wore stormtrooper armors in Episode 4, and they weren't fucking stormtroopers. Second of all, not all stormtroopers are Jango Fett clones anymore, shithead. They ran out of those in the Clone Wars because they all fucking died fighting fucking robots, and now they hire people to be stormtroopers. And that's not book canon, that's not canon anymore. You know it's movie canon because Luke's friends were in the fucking academy in Episode 4.
And
So-
it's also the Star Wars novels.
Yeah, well, but they're not canon anymore.
Well, the
No,
actual
like
novels
the ones
for the movies.
on 4, 5, and 6.
Not
Oh,
there
the
are
gotcha,
books
actual-
for 4,
gotcha,
5, and
yeah.
6. Yeah.
So shut the fuck up about black stormtroopers, too. Because that guy was great in Attack the Block, so fuck off.
I just like the and they showed you a black stormtrooper as the very first image on purpose. I mean that was a very purposeful thing to cause the reaction as well. That was a purposeful thing.
And these are the reasons.
And then it had the thing. He said, "I ain't found shit."
And then they showed, yeah, which was great. And then they showed some woman riding a giant fudge sickle. I don't know what that thing's all about. You'd think there'd be more. Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
Well, not like it was in her vagina riding it, like a motorcycle riding it.
Oh, that makes it better.
She was riding the fudgesicle on top.
I don't know that there wasn't another sub fudgesicle in her vagina also. Like, that's how the seating mechanism works, like that South Park episode.
I'm done with this conversation.
Okay.
What's your recommendation, Katie?
she already made one.
I already made one. It's your turn.
It's
It's
Andy's
your
turn.
It's your turn, Brian.
It is Andy's turn.
Nope, not my turn. It's your turn.
We go around.
No, go around. You skip me
It's
twice.
Nathan's
It goes
turn.
right to Brian.
Nathan's recommendation is to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's all I heard. It's just shut the fuck up. And
Shut-
I'm taking his recommendation.
Also, if there's a woman playing War Machine, treat her like a human being.
And shut the fuck up.
Probably good. Probably, given knowing the social tactics of most people in nerd hobbies,
Yeah.
probably just best to play it safe and just
Shut
not
the fuck up. Yeah.
fucking talk.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, let's hear it.
I am going to recommend that one movie I saw. Like, can't think of any of those.
John Wick?
It's a good movie. I like that movie.
I haven't
Wick?
seen
You
it.
haven't seen John Wick.
I don't know what movie you're talking about. Whatever movie he's talking about.
Yeah, no, I don't have recommendations.
St. Vincent? Birdman?
No, actually, I didn't see it
Interstellar?
either. I forget.
You were lying?
I've been playing WoW, so I don't really expand
Brian
my
has been playing WoW
senses.
roughly 1,000 hours a week.
Yeah.
And so the only things he knows about are things in WoW. Do you have a WoW-based recommendation for us, Brian?
Well, I have too many of those.
Okay.
So I don't want to go down that
How
rabbit
close,
hole.
how close are you to your first level 25 pet?
Oh, they're level 18.
Yeah.
It's the most painful thing in the world. Yeah, no, I actually haven't. I mean, I have some new iPad games, but I haven't played enough to really recommend them.
because you can't unplug
Well, no,
from WoW.
I've been playing them a little bit. I just want to play more, and I got a couple new board games I want to recommend, but I want to play them a little bit more. So I guess got thing that we weren't able to play this weekend because we had Who's the Boss and stuff going
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah, stuff happened.
I just have a few things that I didn't have enough gameplays and to like truly recommend it. And there's like no, I mean, there's really no new movie. I actually haven't seen any new movies really lately, and all the TVs are there's no new TV shows.
Did somebody
so.
recommend or anti-recommend the new Hunger Games movie, by the way, last week? Or
I haven't.
I liked it. I really liked it.
I liked it too, but I didn't
I
recommend
haven't
it.
read the books, but I enjoyed both of the movies so far. I haven't seen the third
You like
movie,
this
but-
one?
You would like the third one. So I've
The,
said
the
this
second one, I'm going to spoil it. I don't give a shit, though. It caught me with the twist. Because I was watching the second movie, and I'm thinking, man, these villains are idiots. Like, Philip
Right.
Seymour Hoffman's advice is terrible.
Terrible.
He's just going to piss people off more. What a stupid... Oh, never mind. He
Oh,
was
right.
Okay.
I will say some complaints of this latest movie is because people that haven't read the books are like it ended kind of weird. Like they separated the books really well, and I thought they told the first half of the book really well. But evidently, if you've not, it may not be as great of a movie if you haven't read the book. I guess the structure isn't as good as it could be for a standalone movie.
The third movie had the same thing the first two movies had going for it, which is the entire Hunger Games book series is amazing if you could just remove the perspective of Katniss. Like, if you don't have to hear Katniss's inner monologue, she's a fantastic character and all the characters are great. And so in the movie, they were just like, Katniss has no inner monologue. And it's like, oh my god, amazing character.
I just figured something out.
What's that?
These are pistachios.
Wasabi pistachios?
I don't know if it's wasabi, but they're pistachios, and that's why I fucking love them, because
That would make
pistachios
sense.
are the best nuts.
Pistachios are amazing. But yeah, I thought it was really, really good. I had to actually look up on Wikipedia what she was playing with the whole movie, like in all the different scenes. Did you know what that was? Because I didn't notice. It was the pearl PETA gave her. It was PETA's pearl.
Oh, Peter Pro. That alliterates. I saw a picture online of somebody. It was like the Mockingjay picture, and they pointed out that it's Johnny Bravo holding an arrow, and now I can't unsee it. Because, like, it's one wing is him, like, pointing up like this, and I can't unsee it now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So my recommendation isn't exactly a recommendation, but I would like somebody to recommend to the movie Pain Train one movie for us to see.
The Last Unicorn. I just hear it's terrible. We should watch
They
that
should
one.
pick a
Oh,
January
no,
movies are always
anything
bad.
but the Briar Patch.
No,
I
but-
mean, the Last Unicorn.
But we want to have the problem with this winter so far, and then we tried searching on Rotten Tomatoes. There really isn't that many like bad movies.
There's been a lot of good movies.
This
right
is
now.
when
been
the
a lot of
movies
good
come
movies.
out.
Yeah.
January is when the shit comes back.
Yeah.
And-
Well,
and-
we are already committed to the Seventh Son. Seventh Son is going to happen.
Well, what about the movie with North Korea on Christmas Day? That could be bad.
That's probably going to be funny enough.
Well, I'm going to go. I want to see it, but it could be awful.
It could be awful, but when have you seen a Rogan and what's his name bad movie?
Some people don't like those guys.
Yeah.
I like Pineapple Express. I thought that movie was amazing. To me, they very much
What's
feel
his
like
Good as
face?
the
James Franco.
Danny McBride. Danny McBride's amazing. He might
Yeah.
be the funniest fucking guy on the planet right now. He's so underappreciated.
Yeah, I mean,
He's the best part of all the movies that have Danny McBride in them.
Franco and Rogan, they feel very much like. Oh Jesus! I'm just seeing the Johnny Bravo.
The Johnny
So
Bravo.
that's
Yeah.
the Mockingjay.
Yeah, no, now yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
Enjoy.
But they feel very much like the Gene Wilder and Richards.
Big part of it is that like James Franco and Seth Rogen are like best friends in
Yeah.
real life,
Yeah.
so it's just so natural anytime they're in something together. Like God, the parody they did of that shitty Kanye West video
Oh yeah, that was
was
really
amazing.
Yeah.
Where Seth Rogen was Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Oh.
This
Good. Well,
is
he's
the
a
end.
sexy beast.
This
so
is the
there's
end
that
was such a
too.
great film too.
Mm-hmm.
But we want a recommendation. Our next one that we have loosely planned, because most of us don't remember it. We just remember how horrible it was. Is Wing Commander?
And I love the game so much.
The movie's so bad.
So much.
But Nathan, do you remember anything about that movie?
I remember Maverick.
Just being bad.
I
remember
remember
Maverick.
space gypsies. I remember terrible cat makeup, and I remember that the fighter things in the void of space when they got out of the launch bays dropped down as.
But
the,
that happened in the video games. That was in the game. If
No, I
you
don't
watch the
think
cutscene in the original Wing Commander games, they come out of the bay and they go down and then back up. So that at least is true to the game.
The
Also,
terrible cat
Privateer is
makeup.
the best game ever made. I love that game, and that was set in
There's
the
some
Wing
new
Commander universe.
space game that was amazing that came out, and it got redone real soon. I can't think of the name of it right now. They've been talking about it on some forum I read on Five Fingers, which is the cool new Focus and Fury world. There's a they're talking about some damn video game that's like a space one of those classic space games got redone in HD. Is coming out real soon.
Descent Free Space
If
was
it's-
really good.
If it's Privateer, then I'm fucking downloading
Oh,
it.
it's the one that came out with that's done by Gearbox.
I don't
No.
know. Well, they have something coming out too.
Yeah.
The Gearbox game I'm supposed to have for free, but I lost my code.
It's really funny because we have a tenant named Gearbox who does not anything about video games.
They do actual gearboxes.
That is hilarious.
It's very confusing.
Anyway, thanks for listening. This has been episode 98 of Crippled System, where we ate food and talked about women.
If
Yeah, we did.
If there was a shot of a black stormtrooper wielding a lightsaber with a cross hilt, I think the internet would would
While
literally
rolling
explode.
along inside a ball.
Yeah.
You would go boom.
Bye.